like a clanging cymbal. You are making noise. Most of us are making noise. You know they are nothing. We have an assignment to love one another. If you see your brother falling, why don't you get into the gutter with the person and lift the person up and pray for the person? We kill our soldiers, we kill ourselves, we do not celebrate our own. We count the sins of each other. If you do good to somebody, they'll write it on water, but do one bad, they'll write it on brass. There are people I have killed myself for. There are people I have compromise my credibility, my integrity for. The kind of things they say about me now. Listen, I hear them, but they didn't. Listen, I'm not living my life because of them. I am on assignment, and that is where I am going. If you know that this place, you are a stranger, you are passing through, you will not dwell on the offense of your neighbor. Let them say whatever they have to say. Let me tell you something. The more they are hating you, the more they are destroying you. They are advertising you. Listen, if you love, the more they hate you, the more the Lord blesses you. Because why? He said he will lay a table before you in the presence of your... What at all have they done to you that you are saying things, you are destroying people? Paul accepted the love of Christ, and so he had to transfer. Until you have love, you cannot give love. Most of us are not born again. We are just church comers. If you are a believer, you can forgive easily. You can have love and forgive easily. When it comes to love, we are like the moon rather than the sun. What we have is what we reflect. If you have the love of God in you, you will give the love of God. If you are married to somebody who hasn't known love, who hasn't experienced love, if you are loving the person too much, the person feels uncomfortable because they don't know love. So don't blame your husbands, they just don't know love. Don't blame your boyfriend, they just don't know love. Because if they have love and they have experienced love and somebody is giving them love, it's automatic. But because they don't know love, when you are giving to them too much, they feel, oh, I drink. You are calling me, why are you calling me too much? You are just concerned about them. They don't know love, they don't have love in them. Church, let's have love in us so that we'll be able to give love. Go on, please.
Verse 2. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all...
Most of us prophets and prophetesses, most of us, myself inclusive, Paul says, I will not preach to you, and I myself will be a cast out. So as I preach to you, I preach to myself. So I hate it when we are preaching and somebody say, tell them. Tell who? Most of us prophets and prophetesses, we are Jezebels. Because how can you be hating on somebody? I invite you to come and to preach. You find my church member and then you go destroying me to my church member. You are Jezebel. You can be preaching, you can be prophesying, but you are Jezebel. The greatest place you can get hypocrites is the church. No wonder judgment will start in church. From the pulpit to the pew. Hypocrisy has, we portray ourselves holier than thou. Oh, shobolebobo, shut. Our tongues are bigger, but our hearts are evil. Until you get to that point, you can be praying and nothing will happen. All you'll be using is familiar spirits. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you love your neighbor as yourself, you won't gossip about the person. If you love your neighbor as yourself, you will not destroy them to their helpers. I saw a video, man of God, the man was speaking in my language. And he said that every time we are praying, casting out demons, casting out Mami water, but it is another human being that took you to Mami water. It is another human being who will say, I want to kill my mother for wealth. It is another human being who will come and put a gun on your head. It is another human being who will destroy you. We can destroy altars, but we need to destroy the evil altars in our hearts first.
Welcome to the maiden edition of the Glam Show. Welcome to the maiden edition of the Glam Show. Today we want to delve deep into matters that concerns women. It's been my heartbeat to talk about issues that affect women in Christendom, topics that are deemed taboo, that people cannot talk about, is what we'll be doing on this show. Welcome, and I want you to stay glued. I want you to share this video. Invite somebody to invite somebody. Let the video go viral because we are going to talk about the woman and her sexuality. And we are zeroing in on the church because we don't talk about it's absurd to talk about sex in the church. A woman talking about sex, you will be looked at in a certain way. So today we are going to be dispassionate about the topic. We are going all out. I have 2 pastors and I have 2 medical doctors, 2 gynecologists, and we will do justice to this topic. If you have a question, please write it down in the comment section, and we will ask the doctors and we'll ask the pastors. But to start with, I have a son, a wonderful son of the house that I really love and appreciate. He is well-read. He's an open-minded person. And we are going to start with him whilst we wait for Reverend Dr. Charlotte Odro, Dr. Afari, and my own personal gynae, Dr. Donko. And so as they come in, we will introduce them to you individually. But I want to introduce Apostle Kolete Sogbojo to you. He is the senior pastor of Citadel of Glory International. He's an educator. He's a businessman. And the last one really fascinates me. He's a behaviorist. Did I get it right? He's a behaviorist. So if you behave in a certain way, he can psychoanalyze you right now. And you think he's prophesying, but he's just psychoanalyzing you. And we are going to start with him. Welcome to my set, Apostle Kolete Sogbojo.
Thank you, Mommy. Thank you for having me.
I want to start by asking you this question. Because you are a pastor, I call you a theologian. You say you're not a theologian, but I know you are. I know you are well-read. I want to know why sex has become a taboo in church and we cannot talk about sex in church. Whilst growing up, we were made to understand or know that sex is dirty. So in my home, growing up, there's no way you can mention any private parts. It becomes a taboo. So whilst growing up, I wanted to explore, I wanted to know stuff, and I discovered them in ways that were not right. So I want us to talk about why is it difficult for us as believers, tongue-talking, that we must know all things. We shy away from the topic of sex in the church.
Thank you very much. Sexuality itself cannot be taken away from us because sexuality is who we are. It's more of the physiology of the human body, how you are, how you are made, how you express emotions, and how you express your feelings. That is sexuality. And we are not able to talk about it because of the extreme aspect of it. It's been abused. And because it's been abused, it has become a no-go area for most families. You will see that in a typical African family or in a typical Ghanaian family, there are certain topics that are a no-go area, and sex is part of those topics that are a no-go area. And I think it's because we are not well socialized to understand that the subject of sex cannot be taken away from the human existence. When we begin to accept that sex is part of human existence, without sex, there's no procreation. You may have to have sex with the opposite sex in order to procreate, that is to produce. And so we cannot live this life without discussing such a matter. And it's become a very dangerous thing in our families not to talk about it. And even with the church, I personally think that we have over-Christianized certain topics. We have become extremely religious about these topics, and it's hurting the fabric of the makeup of the church. Because when you look into the church and there are a lot of things going on, people can't talk about it because we say that this topic is not spiritual. But the coming of Christ, or the coming of Christ, both affects the spirit and the flesh. So if Jesus came in flesh, why can't we discuss issues of the flesh? You are first human before you became a spirit.
The spirit, yeah.
Jesus, after dying for us and we accepting him to come into our lives, did not kill us. We live here on earth. And he knows that so long as we are in this earth, we must multiply as God commanded in Genesis 1. So if we must multiply, how do we multiply? We are not asexual beings.
So this brings me to my second question. You know, a lot of women don't talk about sex, their body. Most women don't know their body, what it entails or what it comprises of to even enjoy sex. So most marriages are suffering because of that aspect. We over-spiritualize, like you said. Why is it that we cannot, as women, know our body or be taught? You're a pastor. Do you teach sex in your church? And do you advocate that sex must be taught in the church?
Anything that is part of our lives requires to be explored. Anything that is part of human existence must be explored. Because as human, you exist in the world. Your behavior, your exposure would be dependent on the exploration. So you should be able to explore to a certain extent whatever you are involved in. So for instance, if I'm a preacher and I'm saying that because I'm a preacher, I depend on the Holy Spirit to teach me, I'll be limited.
Okay.
Because there are physical materials that I must go into for information.
That's right.
That makes me a refined and a seasoned preacher.
That's right.
So if you are a human being, you are a woman, it lies on you to discover who you are, what your body is made of, the things you respond to, and the things your body doesn't respond to. That is the first step. But let me backtrack a bit. In our family systems, the setting of the family system is such that there is no modern, the modern family system doesn't have those problems. But those of us who came from certain background, there is no room for discussion. So you will see a young lady who is attaining teenagehood, but has not been prepared enough into her adulthood. So a young lady will menstruate and will think that it is evil to menstruate. So they will hide that. Now, that is where the entire problem starts. So if we don't begin to have such conversations with our girl child, we will always be having these problems.
Let me get ahead of myself, right? Before my doctors sit down. I was reading an article, and based on the fact that I am a counselor, that many people talk to me dispassionately, I realized that less than 40% of women reach orgasm. Many of us women don't even know what orgasm is. And we cannot talk about it in church. You can't go to your pastor and walk to your pastor and say, I don't reach orgasm. I have sex with my husband, and I don't reach orgasm. Why is that? You have a little background into the medical field, so let me use you before the doctor. Why is it that women cannot get to that? I'm getting ahead of myself because I know these questions are some things that my audience would want to ask and everything, but I'm asking these questions for them. Less than 40% of women, some really enjoy the sexual act, but to reach that spot, they don't. Why is that?
It cuts both ways. It takes two to tango.
Yeah.
Number one, the woman must know her body.
Good.
Every woman must know her body. You must know where you like to be touched. You must know what, number one, you must know what turns you on, right? And you must understand your body. It's not about you being turned on. You must understand why you are being turned on in this dimension. And you must understand how your body reacts to sometimes words, sometimes smell, sometimes body language, sometimes a stare, what you look at, who looks at you, who touches you is very important. So if you are able to take it from knowing your body and you know the things that turns you on, you will begin to develop or gravitate towards those things because you need it.
Let me cut you in. You would go on, but let me cut you in. Why is it that some men will not allow their spouse or their wives to tell them where to touch them? Because when some men, this our cafe over spiritualized life. When you start doing such, they will term you as a sports person. Or what say. And so it makes the women call back into their shells and they don't come out to explore who they are and their sexuality.
I think it's lack of education.
Okay.
It's lack of education. I was counseled before I entered into marriage. I didn't get that. All you get from marriage counsel is how to keep the home, how to cook, how to wash, and all of that. But when I became a pastor, I decided that I would teach the couples how to discover their bodies.
Okay.
They must discover their body. That is very, very important. And you, the man, also must learn to explore the body of your wife. There is nothing wrong asking your wife where she loves to be touched. There is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong asking your wife during the process whether she is okay or not. Because remember, it's not a game you are playing. You are being intimate. So you can both enjoy the intimacy when you know what your spouse wants and then you do it. Don't forget that sex in marriage is not supposed to be a duty.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a communication. Sex in marriage is communication of love. People have said it is a duty. It is not a duty. It's an expression of love. How do you express love to your partner when she's in pain? When you don't want to understand how her body reacts to you? You see, so if the man will be diligent enough, he has to be very patient to explore the woman's body. Let me say this. Every woman has a spot where when you touch, they go, wow. Sometimes they will not say it, but you can see it in how they open their eyes. You can see it in how they react to the touch. That, as a man, you must pay attention to. It is when most men...
So for most African men, they are not even looking.
They are not romantic.
They are just waiting to pounce on the woman, do their duty, roll over and sleep.
The interesting thing is that even when we are exploring each other,
the lights are off.
Yeah, the lights are out. You've closed your eyes. So you don't see the expression in the eyes of your partner. Right? Why should you put the lights off when you are making love with the one you love?
I heard that a couple's marriage hit the rocks because one person doesn't want the lights on when they are making love. The other two want it on. So it brought conflict and then that marriage hit.
I think it all boils down on, like I said earlier, socialization. How was the person socialized?
Okay.
What conversations did they have growing up? Some of us, we have to learn these things the street way. We have to read.
The street way.
The street way. We have to read. We have to ask questions. We have to attend seminars. But guess what? Your seminar, the seminar you attend is just one step.
A fragment of.
Outgrown any form. The more you practice, the more you get better at it. You see? So if you have not been properly socialized, that is where the problem will be. It is always from the foundation. And in some homes, like you rightly said, the mention of sex or penis or breast or vagina is a taboo. But my question is, the thing is on you. It's part of your body. Why, if you can mention your head, your ears, your nose, why can't you mention your vagina? What's wrong with that? People say...
Can you mention vagina in church?
Yes, I'm in church.
So the other day, Daddy was talking about, how many of you watched that video when he was talking about the gays and he said, Nini Woneke? How many of you remember?
Yeah.
And then somebody called me and said, why should a pastor be vulgar like that? Why should he mention Duna in church? and people have a problem with it. And a pastor must be prim and proper. You shouldn't mention vagina. You shouldn't. So it becomes difficult. You cannot even teach. And let me say this before you go on. I've counseled to the glory of God more than 100 marriages. But you know what? Until 5 years, what I used to do. So coming from where I'm coming from, we can't talk about sex in my house. I grew up in that kind of house. My VJ, I can't mention it, not until 5 years ago. So when I'm having counseling and it is time for sex in marriage, then I push them to daddy. Yes, because that's been my upbringing. I can't talk dirty. I have friends around me who really, really talks dirty, but it can't, even up till now, I struggle to say certain words. It's very difficult for me, but I have to do this to liberate a woman watching me, a woman sitting here, to be able to enjoy their marriage to the fullest. Explore their body. Like you rightly said, we don't know our body. Most of us even don't know how our clitoris works. The labia minora and majora. We don't know how it works. We can't even know. Some men knows a woman's body more than a woman. And for me, it is wrong. You should not endure marriage. You should enjoy marriage. You should not endure sex. So coming back to you, I'll do the spiritual side with you. And then when the pastors, doctors sit, I will. Also, is it good to go down on your husband or your wife?
Go down. Let's use the proper word.
Okay.
Yes. Let's use the proper word because for the purpose of education.
Okay.
So, Mama, what is go down?
Okay, giving your partner or your husband oral sex.
Now, the question we must ask is that, does it give him or her pleasure?
Is it, okay, let me put my question well. Is it sinful?
Now, intimacy or sex is not penetration.
Okay.
Penetration is the final point of sexual intercourse. It starts from somewhere, right? So any and everything that gives your partner, in this context, your husband or your wife, any and everything that gives your husband or your wife pleasure is permitted.
Okay. It's permitted.
It's permitted.
People, did you hear that? This is the pastor talking now. It's permitted.
And everything
okay.
that gives your husband or wife pleasure.
Even anal sex.
That is the extreme.
Okay.
Right? Mind you, I have met a 30-year-old virgin. She's a virgin in the vagina, but she's not a virgin in the anus.
Yeah.
That's what we call sexual preferences.
Okay.
Sexual preferences. There are people who prefer certain acts in sex. Right? And it all has to do with the physiology of that person's body. The way my body responds to a woman, it will be different from the way the body of another man will respond to a woman.
Okay.
Because I am made up differently. My genome is different. My phenotype is different.
Okay.
My skin type is different. All of that put together defines the sexuality of a man or a woman.
Okay.
Right. Now let me come back. With the issue of anal sex, it is the extreme. Right?
But the man says, this is what I want. That's my fantasy. That's what makes me happy. What do you do?
So if you see,
As
like
a Christian
husband
wife.
or a Christian wife.
Yes.
Now, the Bible says that we have opportunity with everything, but not all is permissible.
Yeah.
Number two, it is marriage, not just any relationship. So the man and the woman must meet each other in the middle.
Okay.
If practicing anal sex with your spouse is okay with your spouse, that is the key word, is it is okay with her, that can be permissible.
So what if it's not okay with her and he's strengthening, I'm going to look for another woman who will satisfy my urge?
So then we will say that that is extreme. Because I believe that it is marriage. It is marriage. I know this thing I'm going to say will cause a lot of problem, but it's fine. It is marriage. It takes two people to marry. Okay. You don't marry your enemy. You don't marry your enemy. Love goes beyond, over and above. So if you want it and your partner is not comfortable with it, there should be a compromise.
There should be a compromise.
There should be a compromise. If your partner is getting hurt in the process and she's expressing the pain, if you truly love her, you will stop.
So for some men are selfish. They want theirs, what makes them happy, and the woman doesn't really care.
That will not lead to a successful relationship.
So there is this one I heard on radio the other time, this lawyer woman who has come out because she was married to a politician who only wanted anal sex. Yeah. And she's had anal sex to the point that she can't hold her bowel.
Also is messed up.
It's messed up. So she has to
wear diapers.
And when it got to that point, the man doesn't want her again.
Yeah.
So as a Christian woman, like you said, there should be a compromise and we must submit to our husbands. So is this not submission to foolishness or submission into loving your husband so that he doesn't go out and cheat?
I think that before we get to the point of even thinking that he will go out to cheat, a conversation should always start. That's why I said from the beginning is that there is a need for the husband and the wife to discuss sex.
Okay.
Discuss it. Sweetheart, what pleasures you? What can I do? How do I go about it?
Do we have such men now?
There are. Delali is one. There are. You know, what pleasures you? You know, it should always start with a conversation.
Okay.
What pleasures you? Talk about it. Because I believe communication is powerful. The more you talk about it, you're able to communicate your emotions. You communicate your intentions to your spouse. Then when that is done, definitely, when communication is done properly, understanding is reached.
Also, for somebody's question, what do you do when you are married to a Christian man who is not romantic, who will not explore your body, comes to you, ajelemba, jemo bue, pam, 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 he's off, he's rolled over, he's sleeping. What do? You've talked about it and he's not really into it. What he wants is what he does. What do you do as a Christian?
In this case, because it is marriage,
you don't do anything.
You have to continue talking.
You stay there and suffer.
You have to continue talking. You know, you have to continue talking. Because I believe that communication is good to a further extent. You keep on talking about it. You keep on communicating it. Because if you don't talk about it, you'll be bruised emotionally and then you will lose interest in the marriage. Because as long as you are in the marriage, you have to be intimate with your husband or your wife. But if you are not happy with the intimacy, you can't keep quiet about it. You have to talk. And mind you, anything that affects the body affects your psychology. It affects your emotions. And so when your body is affected and your thinking is affected and your emotion is affected, that can lead to the breakdown of a relationship.
Wow. So why is it that, let me talk, I'm a charismatic, full charismatic. So the charismatic men, they are too spiritual than being romantic.
You know, understanding. Not everything is spiritual.
So are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, before you...
If I am hungry, I don't speak in tongues to get satisfied. I have to go and look for food.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like we're discussing in your office.
Yes.
When you are thirsty, what do?
You drink water.
When you feel horny, what do? You don't pray.
Prayer cannot solve
prayer
that.
Doesn't satisfy sexual desires. When you are married, that is in the context of marriage. When you are married and you feel like having sex, you have sex.
Okay, so Sofo, Because you are a pastor, let me talk about this way. Because if I am a young woman, I was talking to you in the office. Some women are very sexually alive. Others too, they don't care whether it happens, whether it doesn't happen. But if their libido is high, they are not married, and they are horny, as a Christian, what do you do? Should they pray in tongues?
There are things you can do apart from prayer that can alleviate that drive.
Okay.
You take on an activity that will take your attention from it. You can take a long walk, right? You can
long walk.
Yes, you can take a long walk.
Are you hearing?
You can take a long walk. You can listen to good music, right? Some people, it's true, some can't sustain it.
Yes.
Some can't sustain it. But the question you have to ask yourself, it always comes back to self. You ask yourself, I am not married. I have the drive for sex. I can't go about sleeping with just anybody. What do I do? So when you keep asking yourself those questions, definitely you receive an answer for yourself.
Okay, so before we go for the commercial break, and I'll introduce my doctor to talk to us about the woman's sexuality and everything, and for us to ask him questions. I want to ask you this as a man of God. I'm happy I have you on my set because I can throw everything at you, everything at all. BDSM. As Christians, is it good for us?
Sexual preferences.
Like having a red room, you and your husband, you and your wife, the whips, the cuffs, and all that.
Yeah, the lighted candles.
And everything.
And all of that.
Is it good for us?
I'm going to sound very controversial.
So that's what I
know
want.
I'm going to be lambasted, but it's fine. It is marriage. Does it give you pleasure? Does it give the wife pleasure? Does it give the husband pleasure? If it does, there's no crime about that. Now, when you look into the scripture doesn't tell us how people engage sexually. But sexuality is evolving. It evolves.
So they crucify me, you crucify on the
I'll come there. Sexuality evolves just as the human behavior evolves.
Okay.
People are not always the same.
Okay.
People learn and unlearn. They add things to it. And you will realize that for those who have been married for some time, you realize that when you started out as married people, there is a certain sexual position you enjoyed. But after some time, you didn't enjoy it anymore. Your body has evolved.
Okay.
So now, your body will respond to a different set of stimuli altogether. That, when you know that, then you can go along that lane and enjoy yourself. Listen, sex is meant to be enjoyed, not endured.
Wow, sex is meant to be enjoyed and not endured. At this point, I want us to take a commercial break, and then when we come back, we are taking the doctor's view on the woman and her sexuality.
You are like a clanging cymbal. You are making noise. Most of us are making noise. Onyo bogbomoe. So you are bogbomoe to mobeni. You know they are nothing. We have an assignment to love one another. If you see your brother falling, why don't you get into the gutter with the person and lift the person up and pray for the person? We kill our soldiers. We kill ourselves. We do not celebrate our own. We count the sins of each other. If you do good to somebody, they'll write it on water. But do one bad, they'll write it on brass. There are people I have killed myself for. There are people I have compromise my credibility, my integrity for the kind of things they say about me now. Listen, I hear them, but they did not. Listen, I'm not living my life because of them. I am on assignment, and that is where I am going. If you know that this place you are a stranger, you are passing through, you will not dwell on the offense of your neighbor. Let them say whatever they have to say. Let me tell you something. The more they are hating you, the more they are destroying you. They are advertising you. Listen, if you love, the more they hate you, the more the Lord blesses you. Because why? He said he will lay a table before you in the presence of your... What at all have they done to you that you are saying things? You are destroying people. Paul accepted the love of Christ, and so he had to transfer. Until you have love, you cannot give love. Most of us are not born again. We are just church comers. If you are a believer, you can forgive easily. You can have love and forgive easily. When it comes to love, we are like the moon rather than the sun. What we have is what we reflect. If you have the love of God in you, you will give the love of God. If you are married to somebody who hasn't known love, who hasn't experienced love, if you are loving the person too much, the person feels uncomfortable because they don't know love. So don't blame your husbands, they just don't know love. Don't blame your boyfriend, they just don't know love. Because if they have love and they have experienced love and somebody is giving them love, it's automatic. But because they don't know love, when you are giving to them too much, they feel, oh, I drink. You are calling me, why are you calling me too much? You are just concerned about them. They don't know love, they don't have love in them. Church, let's have love in us so that we'll be able to give love. Go on, please.
Verse 2. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all...
Most of us prophets and prophetesses, most of us, myself inclusive, Paul says, I will not preach to you, and I myself will be a cast out. So as I preach to you, I preach to myself. So I hate it when we are preaching, somebody say, tell them. Tell who? Most of us prophets and prophetesses, we are Jezebels. Because how can you be hating on somebody? I invite you to come and to preach. You find my church member, and then you go destroying me to my church member. You are Jezebel. You can be preaching, you can be prophesying, but you are Jezebel. The greatest place you can get hypocrites is the church. No wonder judgment will start in church. From the pulpit to the pew. Hypocrisy has... You are like a clanging cymbal. You are making noise. Most of us are making noise. Hello? You know they are nothing. We have an assignment to love one another. If you see your brother falling, why don't you get into the gutter with the person and lift the person up and pray for the person? We kill our soldiers, we kill ourselves, we do not celebrate our own. We count the sins of each other. If you do good to somebody, they'll write it on water, but do one bad, they'll write it on brass. There are people I have killed myself for. There are people I have compromise my credibility, my integrity for the kind of things they say about me now. Listen, I hear them, but they did not. Listen, I'm not living my life because of them. I am on assignment, and that is where I am going. If you know that this place you are a stranger, you are passing through, you will not dwell on the offense of your neighbor. Let them say whatever they have to say. Let me tell you something. The more they are hating you, the more they are destroying you. They are advertising you. Listen, if you love, the more they hate you, the more the Lord blesses you. Because
Don't call. And I have my troublesome friend. She is troublesome. and I love her to the moon and back. Reverend Dr. Charlotte Odro. So it's getting hot. A bit Jawa has said, we all know. So, Doc, let me come to you first. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We are excited to have you here. This doctor of mine, he speaks his mind. I love him. He is so raw, and that is the kind of person I want on my set. Doc, we want to know about the woman and her sexuality from the medical point of view. Like I was just having the conversation with the pastor. Most women, we don't know what our metabolism is made of. We don't know. We know we are just a woman. Women, we have a vagina, and we sleep with a man, we get pregnant, and that is all. But understanding our sexuality, understanding our sexual lives, how we respond to stuff, the use of our clitoris, labia majora, and whatever. Please, we want you to explain from the medical point of view the woman and her sexuality.
Thank you very much. Every woman is quite complex, and every woman's thoughts and feeling is complex. If you look at the structure of a woman, if I should take it from infancy, or even with babies, women do better than even the male. The males will die quickly. The women will be able to survive. Even when they are preemie or preterm, the women do better than the men. So woman's system is quite complex. If you look at the reproductive system of a woman is born to kind of receive. So anytime they are in bed, they are receiving. Unfortunately, some of them too are rough riders. So they receive. So if you look at the structure of the woman, there is a hole. You have the majora, you have the minora, you have the clitoris. And then just below it is where the anus is. And going deep into the system, you have where the ovaries, you have the womb itself, and then the whole system becomes complete. So for a woman to be sexually active, or for a woman to be having the sexual feelings, sexuality comes with thoughts, comes with feelings, comes with attractions. And it's a very good topic that has been taken up this afternoon. And I'm so excited to be here because of the current trend of issues that are trending on social media concerning LGBTQ, wherever it is. Now, sexuality is attraction, sexuality is thought, sexuality is feeling, and there are so many questions that comes into mind. Women are always women, and men are always men. When you are in bed with a man, there are responsibilities of a man, there are responsibilities of a woman. The woman plays his role, the man will also play his role. There are so many questions that comes into mind when it comes to sexuality as you place it. Sex is a communication. And if a good communication is done before sex, the sex activity or the act itself is at its peak. And both partners are going to enjoy and have a good time, and it will be everlasting and everlasting. Before I came in, I saw you discussing an issue with your pastor. And that part of the discussion is the attraction part. You haven't gone into the nitty-gritty of the styles, the things that really pays for a woman to attract another woman. And then in the medical aspect of it, some of the consequences that comes with sex should be dealt with. If attraction starts at puberty stage, a woman feels attracted to other women or attracted to a man at puberty, or we put it in terms adolescence. That is why sometimes in public health sectors and in public health activities, a lot of focus is on adolescent health, adolescent education, adolescent sexual reproductive system. And that is where a lot of the difficult decisions comes with women. Some of the women will decide to abstain. Some of the women will decide to go in for it. All these thoughts that your pastor raised are questions that comes into the mind of the adolescents. And when these questions come, they need answers. Sometimes the approach to these questions, if you look at social activities, talking about sex even in the house is an abomination. Sex in the house is an abomination. Sometimes even parents talking to children about sex becomes a big issue in the house. Parents are afraid to talk to the adolescent about sex. Adolescents go to their schools, go to the universities, and are in certain places, and they need answers of even their changes that are occurring in their reproductive sections. Hair begins to grow at the adolescent, breast becomes enlarged, their clitoris becomes bigger. Some of them, they have big minora, they have big majora, the hole becomes bigger, and they start menstruating. And all these questions are questions that need to be answered at home or sometimes at school. And all these questions don't come with answers. Then they are exposed to the vulnerable. And when they are exposed and they get to people who are quite not sensitive, or people who are quite exploratory, then they tend to abuse the kids or the adolescent. And then whichever way they swing to, they get addicted to that section. And then they start engaging in multiple sexual partners and all that. And I'm sure that as time goes on, we'll get to some of the side effects and some of the complications and some of the things that result in sexual intercourse and sex.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. We appreciate this. Is deep. Reverend Dr. Mrs. Why are women silent on their sexuality in the church?
Okay, thank you. Me, I'm not silent.
That's why you are here. That's why you are here.
Yes, me, I express myself.
Okay.
It's my sex life, so
Yes.
you know.
Okay.
We have nowhere to go than to enjoy. So the problem is hypocrisy in the church is a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
We are too. I don't know whether it's spirituality or lack of knowledge. Because sex is not a problem. It's something God made for married couples. And we need to talk about it. And women, I don't blame some of the women because the way the men will see it when you express yourself when it comes to sex. Some of your husbands will tell you, you are bad.
What say?
Me, I'm okay. Some say, I'm good to go. Because when it comes to sex, I need to be crazy.
I love that.
So you see, so the church
women, so it's okay to be crazy as a married woman who
wrong,
is.
my dear.
Hey.
We are nowhere to go. We are bound to God. So some of the things we can't do.
Okay.
What else am I supposed to do? I can't go to the club.
Okay.
So the only club I have is in the room with my husband.
Okay.
And I must do everything. I mean, everything.
You mean everything?
Every aspect of it. You see, many are dying in their marriages, those who are in the church.
Yes.
But the worldly people are enjoying because they love to express themselves. They can tell their husbands, the way you did it, it wasn't good. Touch me this way. Because the body of every woman, every part of it is very good. If you touch it well, she will respond to it. Okay, so I want to be touched right. So the church women should start talking. So there are many women in the church that goes out there and they enjoy themselves well.
Sir.
Oh yeah, it's not a lie, it's the truth. Because the men in the church makes it look as if when you talk about sex or when you want to be crazy, sexy, in the room, some kind of dancing, everything we do, every corner. You need to explore. Listen, it makes you happy yourself.
Okay.
Not just pleasing your husband, but yourself. It releases tension. You know, you become fresh. The mind, the doctor is here. Me, I'm not a doctor, but I know it.
You know that one.
I don't need to be a doctor because if you have experience about
You mean it makes you glow differently?
you can see now. Me, I'm grown. I'm not a baby.
Okay.
But I still look young because I don't want anybody to hold me and put me in a corner where that is not where I want to be. After I finish preaching, Charlie, I need to enjoy myself.
That is like rejuvenation, right?
It's necessary. And I can't be bored on bed and I have things in my head I can't tell you. And anywhere I know where you're holding, I don't like it. I will touch, you will touch right. I will take your hand to the right places.
This comes in when we talk about communication before sex.
Yeah.
So if a very good communication is being done and a very good environment with a good flow, where you are not shy even to expose certain parts
But why are you shy?
Exactly.
To your husband?
And that is the issue we have in the churches.
Church, yeah.
Then we'll start preaching about it. Maybe in my church I preach. Because I have 3 kids. My stomach is not the same. I don't have flat tummy. And nobody will kill me to go and do flat tummy. No. I love the way my tummy is. And the breast has changed. Because 3 people have just sucked it. And another man, that's my husband, also sucking it.
Hey,
so I cannot be like a young girl who is having a standing. That's my doctor. This man is my doctor. That's Afari. I didn't know you were coming here. He's the one that took care of me when I was delivering my boy. So he knows me. That's my doctor.
Wow.
Yes. So, I mean, I say it the way I have to say it because that is the only place I can talk. Here, my husband, I have nowhere to go.
I'll still be on you before I come to Dr. Afari and then Dr. Donko. Why is it difficult for women? You are outspoken. Everybody, that's why you are here.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you to be so outspoken. You speak your mind. You don't care what any judgment anybody. But the church, we, like you said, we are hypocritical about stuff. It makes the women call into their shelves. We can't talk about sex, even to our partners. Our husbands are spiritual. When you need them in the bedroom, they are praying.
Go and pray with him.
When you finish,
We know how to pray. But we are all praying. I know how to pray with you. You will stop praying, we'll just go. The women need to be skillful. Well, we are praying together. The Bible, just. We are praying together. You're my husband and I hold you and I'm holding you. There's a way you hold him and you need to cut the prayer.
Don't call you a witch.
Oh, if you call me a witch, I'm good to go.
I think that it is permitted.
No, God is aware, so I'm good. I'm good.
It's permitted. God allows it because it is legal. The two of you are legally
Married.
And anytime she wants it,
She must get it.
Anyhow, she must get it.
No, the problem is that as you were asking,
Christian women, are you hearing?
they are here. They look so innocent.
Innocent.
That is the problem. Oh. So innocent. But you know you are not. Exploit with your husband. Otherwise, when the men go out and they get these girls, they stay with them. And when they come to the house, they pretend they are okay because they are pretending. You're also pretending. Stop pretending. Whatever he will tell you, forget. With time, he will be okay with it. If he says, what say, Amano? Go crazy. Don't be shy. Go around him. Sit on him.
Sit on him.
You see, we are shy to just go around your husband, hug him around, be around his neck. Christian women are, Papa, will you eat? I don't believe, Papa. You can't let me do this. Oh. I'm bubbly, I'm everywhere. So I come around, I'm, holding you, I'm pinching you, Charlie. Let's go to the DNA. If I'm not even in the mood, I put you there.
Okay.
I want your mind to always be on me because the other women there who are working it out 24/7 to pick the men. They are preacher men who are cheating out there.
Yeah.
Because they are getting what they want there. And we are refusing to give it them because we think we are Holy Marys in the church. Holy Mary, sit there. You will die, die with pressure.
Sit there.
Release yourself and enjoy yourself.
Sit
God
there.
bless you.
Oh, it's getting exciting. If you are watching us live, please invite somebody to come and listen. We are really learning a lot. And I'm so honored to have Dr. Afari on my set today. We started with Dr. Donko, and he's my personal gynae, and Dr. Afari is your gynae too. So it's good to have the both
That's
of
my
them
personal. When I was not even having I was having issues by conceiving with my boy. He's the one that took care of me.
Wow.
There's a good doctor.
Wow.
I can recommend for you. A good one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we want to bring Dr. Afari in. You've listened into our conversation, the woman and her sexuality. What can you add to it before we go to Dr. Donko?
Okay. Is it good afternoon or?
Yes.
I hear when it's 4 o'clock, it's evening, right? So good evening to you all, and I'm glad to be here. And I'm also quite happy to see Reverend Odro here. Wow, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, so just as I listened in this part of the world, I mean, when it comes to sex, when it comes to sexuality, and when it comes to the woman, there are a lot of myths out there, a lot of misconceptions. People are not able to express what they really can do and what they ought to do. So everything is shrouded in secrecy. And for us, because of the privileged position that we occupy, we get to interact with the women. Sometimes some of the women, they are having a lot of issues with sex, some practices that they don't even agree to, and a whole lot. And now, the world that we are in, the pressure is not easy for the women and all that. But as gynecologists, we have an open mind and we have an open door policy. So whatever the women come with, we are ready to assist them. Because sometimes they don't even know who to talk to. They don't know how you are going to accept even what they will tell you. I know sex and our expression, orientation, a whole lot of things. So it's about time that we allow or we give the women the sort of education that they need so that they're able to know what is going on. Because especially when the women, they start the puberty stage, for example, the whole lot of changes that they go through, the secondary sexually characteristics, then even the stages that they go through. If you, in the house, they are not able to get anybody to explain. Even with menses, it's terrible. Sometimes when the women, they start menstruating, I mean, nobody has even told them what they have to expect. And when they start feeling the hormones, I have a friend, a colleague doctor, who says that the hormones are not Christians. So when the hormones start firing, the way you are feeling and all that, there's no Bible quotation that can explain that. So you need to be aware what is going on and how you can manage it. Because if not, we will fall into very bad companies. Because most of the women, their first sexual interaction is from a friend or somebody they trust. And you can even imagine, just as we are in the house of God, even the men of God, sometimes even women of God are abusing the women and even abusing the young boys. And these things are happening because they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the education, they don't even know what is going on. So it's very important that we get to understand some of these things. Your sexuality. How do you feel? How do you express it? If you have problems, who do you talk to? Then, of course, in the context of marriage, like Reverend said, and I'm sure the other speakers have spoken about, even the act of sex, even how to demand what you are supposed to enjoy, and a whole lot. So it's about time we bring these topics to the doorstep of the women and talk to them for them to understand. Then, by so doing, they will make the right choices and they will not be put in a situation whereby things will go wrong. So I think that should be my opening statement for now.
Wow. Dr. Ferry said something, and I'm reiterating. He said that the friend said the hormones are not Christians. So once the hormones kick in and things start happening, you can pray in tongues and nothing happens. Dr. Donko, let me come to you. Most of us women, I'm talking from a place of a marriage counselor, where I sit, people talk to me about issues. Many of us women don't know the use of our clitoris. We know it's something that God gave us as part of our vagina, but the use of the clitoris, we don't know. As a doctor, can you enlighten us a bit about the use of our clitoris as women?
The clitoris is a very sensitive area. It's part of the reproductive system of a woman. It becomes more sensitive during intercourse.
During?
During.
Okay.
It becomes more sensitive during intercourse. Whenever, at the adolescent age, if you are not careful, some of the women will start playing with their clitoris. And sometimes you may see their hands in their panties, and when they see the parent come, they quickly take it off.
Oh, okay.
So you have to pay attention to such incidents in the house and make sure that you are observing your children. And then, as the doctor said, education is very key. Now, the clitoris can be useful and cannot be useful. In the sense that during sexual activity, the man can play with it, the man can kiss it, the man can lick it, the man can do anything that he wants to do with it. For some women, they are excited when you are doing that. But for some women too, they don't like it.
Is it not because the men, they tune your breast like...
the men may not even know how to even use it.
Like radio, some men,
As
the nipple,
doctor was saying,
the nipple, they'll just be tuning in like radio,
Exactly.
not to handle it.
They can even be using their teeth
Yeah.
instead of using the tongue itself and the mouth in doing the thing.
Okay.
And making sure the thing erect. Because you know that during sexual intercourse, it increases in size.
Yes.
And that is where most of the time a lot of women get the orgasm from.
Okay.
When there is traction in and out, and the clitoris is just dangling and doing its own thing. But some of the men may not even know how to handle it. And with women, I always say that women are like unboiled egg. If you don't handle it well and it breaks, that is it. If you handle it well and you're able to keep it and cook it and eat it, you are done.
Okay.
You should know how to handle the clitoris. Handling it well and communication with the woman even before handling the clitoris will save the marriage and will increase your sexual activity and will make your sexual life at its peak and the best.
Wow. Let me still stay on the doctors a bit. I'll come to you. I'll come and ask you some very sensitive questions, so be ready for me. Doc, why do most women, they don't reach orgasm? I was reading an article, it's only 36% of women who know that thing called orgasm. Most people, and actually men, most women fake orgasm. Just to make you happy, they fake it. They don't know what it is. Dr. Fari, why is that?
Okay, thanks for the question. So, orgasm is like the climax of the sexual activity.
Yeah.
So we have stages.
Yeah.
So once we mention orgasm, let me just go straight there. And for orgasm, most women may not achieve orgasm through penetrative sex alone. And as doctor said, the clitoris is a very important organ. So you could actually get orgasm with clitoral stimulation alone.
A friend of mine says she gets orgasm when she is wee-weeing.
Exactly. Then there are a whole lot of things.
Is that true?
Yes. The thing is that there are a whole lot of expressions and manifestations that women don't even know. When you get orgasm, some women may squint. That's what they think is wee-weeing.
Yeah.
Yes, so they will squirt, but it's
Okay.
not weeing. There are glands around the external genitalia that will do that.
Okay.
So for some women, when they get to the peak of it, they will squirt.
Okay.
And there are women who are so good at even making themselves squirt. They don't even need a man. Yeah, so it is because sometimes we don't really understand what is going on. That is why most women don't reach orgasm. And of course, sometimes the men too, we are culprits. Because the men tend to reach orgasm faster or quicker than the women. Okay. So if the man is not somebody who is patient, who even understands what is going on, they may not help you to achieve orgasm. But of course, we need to throw the question back to the woman. You know your body. You know where the man should hold that you get excited. So for a woman, you should know your zones, that your erotic zones, so that women that even if you talk to them, you kiss their ears, they can even have orgasm.
Ah.
Yes, there's some women who can even get wet just by
You breathe
talking
in
to
our ears.
exactly.
Hey.
Some people, it's about their breast. You hold the breast, they can. Even sometimes the thigh, the toes. So as a woman, you should know all those areas so that you invest more time in foreplay. Yes, because for the woman, it takes a while to get there. So once you invest in foreplay, you will definitely get there. But you know, the man is just ready. Once the organ is erect, they just want to fire and go. No.
The most annoying part is after firing, then they roll over and sleep and start
You
snoring.
know,
Hey,
but
Papa.
so you need to know all those aspects of it so that you invest in foreplay. And it's nothing wrong. I mean, kissing, fondling, caressing, and as doctor said, even licking. But of course, you need to be ready. I mean, if your personal hygiene is not the best, you can't have some of these things. So you can't eat your cake and have it. So, if you want somebody to go down on you, you have to make sure that you are ready. Ready, because if not, he will never go down again.
Yeah.
And you see some of the women, they're actually shy because they know that maybe it's not going well down there. So they will even be preventing you from going to certain places and touching certain places. So it's just a matter of knowing your body, investing in foreplay, and availing yourself. You know, there are some women, they feel, no, if I do certain styles, positions, or I do certain things, the man will feel that I'm a sports girl. No.
That's the problem we have in
No.
the church.
You have to let yourself go. If there's something like that, you have to let yourself go. Then you achieve orgasm as it has to be. Because there are some women, they've never achieved orgasm before. It is serious. And the percentage
Is
you
it
are
a
quoting,
medical
yes, of course.
condition?
Because, yes, we have sexual disorders. We even have arousal disorders. We have orgasmic disorders. We have other ones. There are phases of it. So somebody can never get aroused. They will just allow you to have your way. Some people may not get orgasm. Some people, they don't even have libido at all.
Wow.
Yes, there's a moment they don't even have libido at all. But like you said, they just have to fake it for the man to realize that,
Feel
maybe everything is
excited.
good. And these are medical conditions that if you have it, we need to diagnose and help you to treat it for you.
Wow. If
Because
you are
if
here,
not,
or you are listening,
Yes.
or you are watching us, and you don't have libido at all, you are missing out. Please.
You've never reached orgasm.
You've never reached orgasm.
need to get there.
You need to see Dr. Donko and Dr. Fari. They will help you. Seriously. You need to, because God put that thing in us for pleasure.
Yes.
You must. I said what? You must experience it. I'll come back to you, Doc. But, Doc, I want to be thinking about this question whilst I go to the pastors. At what age is a woman's libido high when it dwindles and then comes up again? We know most of us don't know, and our men don't know, so they decide that Okay, sometimes you marry in 10 years, 15 years, they think that it's fine. We are like brothers and sisters. Oh, I remember. So we'll come there. Also, when Dr. Fari was talking, he said some women can squeak and then they have orgasm. Is it a sin?
It's not in the Bible.
It's not in the Bible.
It's not in the Bible, so it's not a sin. It's not a sin. Sex is supposed to give you pleasure. And if you are married, you have every right to enjoy.
Okay, so let me
pleasure.
rephrase. If you are not married,
Well,
and then there is this thing we call, is it cajole? Exercising the vagina, cajoling. So some people do the cajole exercises, they do that and they have orgasm.
Yes, actually good. Not to cut you. You know, when you do the Kegel exercise, it contracts the muscles over there.
Okay.
And it grips the penis.
yeah.
Even the man may even get a feeling that he has never
Hey.
even felt before.
Aye.
And of course, it narrows the channel, and the woman you also enjoy.
But on your own, like you're not having sex, but you want to exercise.
Yes, you can do it on your own. Yeah, there's a way we describe it for you to do it.
Okay, so
Then you can do it.
please, first, I want to talk to the spiritual people. I want to get there.
No, we are not spiritual people.
Okay, you
we
are.
we are first human beings.
So
before we do
you are
the
not
spiritual
married.
thing.
You are not married. You are a spiritual person. You are a prayerful person. But you need to be doing that to tighten your muscle there. It's something the doctors recommend. But whilst you are doing it, you could have orgasm. Is it a sin, please?
I don't think it's a sin. From my perspective,
Okay.
I don't think it's a sin.
Okay.
You know, the doctors can tell you that sometimes you have a medical condition and it is required that you take a certain medication that has a certain level of alcohol in it. Is it a sin? It's not. Because it is a remedy for a certain malady you have.
Okay.
You understand? So I don't see it as a sin. And if there is a need for you to do that exercise because of a condition you have, and in the process you have an orgasm, I mean, who dies?
Nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
Okay.
So that's it. For me, from my perspective.
Okay, so
I don't
Mama
think it is
Charlotte,
evil.
is it a sin? But before I come to you, somebody was asking me on Facebook, it was the BDMS. I want you to explain, but let me go to her first so that I don't forget what I want to ask you. It's not a sin.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's not a sin.
okay.
Why do you want to picture us as if
Because I want to.
we enjoy sex? I have sex. I don't have sex. I make love.
You make love, yes, that's the
Make
word.
love.
Most women cannot reach orgasm with their partners or their husbands. They have to think about somebody else to, to get that thing. Mama Charlotte, please,
Yes.
is it a sin to do that?
Why will you choose that question for me? You always want to put me, give me a trap, but yeah, I won't fall. I will be okay. It means the person that you are thinking about knows how to do it, handles you well. So tell your partner.
They won't listen.
You see, we have problem with some of them. Their ego. I'm a little coffee. You see, he doesn't know anything. He thinks he's the organ.
And then he'll tell you, see, I did
You see,
well.
I did well. You see, it's not about the rounds you are going, no. But how you treat me.
Yeah,
Somebody may not even penetrate, but you feel good already.
yes.
So, you see, the communication is the problem. Me, I can't die. That is me. Listen, don't say because me, I can speak up, so I'm speaking. No. You can speak up, but you are dying.
Yeah.
Talk to your partner. He's your husband. Tell him, you know what? Before I met you, I knew other men before I met you. And you also know it. I wasn't a virgin. This is the way this guy, I don't want to compare. But if you
Hey,
touch
you
me-
want a slap. You tell him this
Oh,
guy.
nobody will slap me. You
Hey.
slap who? I'm correcting you, you slap. Me, I'll do it in a nice way so that you not be offended.
Okay.
You see, sometimes with the way we approach
come
or
out,
talk,
yeah.
that becomes a problem. So if you don't even need to mention your ex's name. You can just sit down once whilst you are wearing something short, looking sexy, smelling good. You sit around him and tell Charlie, tonight, this is how I want you to do it. touch it here.
Please,
Hold
some
me here.
gun man will tell me that Germany I feel. What's all?
Oh, nah. Yeah, Solomon. You see, it's how you communicate to them.
Okay.
It is how you want it to be. Me, I want to play. I can't be bored. If you do that, I'll tell you before you know I'm out.
Okay.
I can't also let you be the one that will push me to go and sin against God.
So where do you draw the line there?
We have no line to draw because the Bible says we should stay there. Which line are we drawing? Or I'll get out. It's either you won't kill me. Call on your fair. Bear, we should conclude. You're not ready to learn. Then you're killing me. Then we just separate.
I'm still on you. As a marriage counselor,
Yeah.
will you ask your counselee to walk out of the marriage because of sex?
No, I'm not saying walk out. We have to work it out.
No, I'm asking this because the other party doesn't want
It's
to
not
learn.
ready to
It's
learn.
not ready to learn
That
anything.
is where the problem is.
And it might lead you into doing things that will destroy your
I know
Christianity.
many people that are cheating on their husbands. I know.
Yeah.
And it's out of these things because some of their husbands are men of God. And they are too Holy Ghostic to the point that when you bring this point or you bring this topic, they say, hey, hold it there, hold it there, hold it there. You have to be spiritual.
It's only the crucified me they know.
Spiritual, after preaching, we become normal.
Yeah.
So you can be a man of God on the altar, but when we get home, man, Charlie, don't do that.
You have to do
You'll
your
be a
duty.
man. You are my man.
Okay.
And you need to handle me because I'm stuck with you. I have this covenant with God. Oh, you can't do that to me. So it's the men in the church. And sometimes the way we're brought up. And our society, and our religion, and our culture, there are some things they don't teach us. Like what the doctor said. My girl is having a menses now. And she knows some things I never knew she knew them. And she learned it out of school. And all that. So sometimes she looks at me in a way, and I was like, why? I said, let's talk. What is it? Then she will tell me, can I speak? You will not shout? You won't be angry? I said, no, talk. What is it? He said, I don't know, but sometimes I feel. I said, it's okay. You are a woman. I told her, if you are not feeling it, then you are not a woman. You need to have feelings. And there's nothing wrong to have a feeling, but what is wrong is when you have the feeling and get a man to penetrate. That is what is wrong. You have a future ahead of you. So preserve your future. But I wanted to, God, nobody told me about sex when I was growing. My mother never for a day sat me down and told me. The only thing they would tell us is that if you get pregnant, whatever. But they never told me how I was feeling was okay, how to be able to be disciplined. Nobody told me. So we all grew knowing one or two things. In essence, you know how we did it in essence and all that. In the corners, we stand in the corners and do things. Nobody told us. So we learned it on the streets. And some of us, it didn't help us. So if we have the opportunity, we need to pick the girls and sit them down. And let our girls know that, Charlie, it's okay to have this feeling. But when it comes, do this, do this. And some of them, as we said, prayer won't solve it. Let's be real. Charlie, you're feeling it. And try to be okay. With time, it will go.
Wow.
And so me with sex, I talk about sex. Because it's killing people and people to come. So sometimes I call the men and I say, your wife, if you make a mistake, she will cheat. Stop being egoistic and then, if you don't know how to do it, let her teach you. She wants to teach you how to hold her, where to touch. And some of the men will say that, hey, woman of God, is it necessary? I said, it's not necessary. This is what she wants. This is what the church is neglecting.
Is sex dirty? Like we've been taught, Sunday school, sex is dirty. You don't have to indulge in it. Is sex dirty?
What makes it dirty? Unless you're not married. That is what is dirty. But if you're married, everything about it is beautiful.
I read an article that says some people say sex is a god. You know, they treat sex. And then another person also said, when you're hungry, you eat. Like he was saying, when you're thirsty, you drink water. And so when you're horny, what do? You are tongue talking. A believer. You pray 24/7. But some people don't have that thing. If it happens, like I said earlier, if it happens, fine. If it doesn't happen, me, if it comes, fine. If it doesn't,
we need to activate the women in the church.
So what happens if the woman is so honey? What does she do as a Christian?
Hey, you see, when you're honey.
And not a believer. And not married, sorry.
That one is a problem.
Yes.
That part is the problem.
Yes.
But when you're married, you know how to go get your man.
Unfortunately, the person is not married. I have a friend, she clocked 50 recently, and 50,
Let the
she's,
doctors answer.
she's honey every day. And she's not married. And she's a believer.
Hey.
And she prays.
So, like I said, the hormones are not Christian. But of course, outside what we are all talking about, if you are honey, the desire is there, what do you do? So we have therapies or things that we do.
Okay.
We tell you to, sex is in the mind.
Okay.
So we tell you that you can keep your mind out of it. You can occupy your mind with certain things. Not about just going to pray. But of course, some activities that will take your mind off that feeling at that material moment. But of course, the feeling coming, you cannot control it. But it's the execution. It comes all right, but what are you doing about it? So you also have a sense of self-control such that the feeling is there. If you don't go and satisfy that feeling, nobody can force you. So there's an element of self-control. There's also another element of how to divert your mind from what is going on at that material moment. So it's a combination. And we've told patient, client, some of these therapies how to take your mind off, and they are okay.
Well, woman of God, I want to ask this. Because you're a man of God, I'll come to you, Apostle, then Doc will tell us, answer my question. Then we'll give you the chance to ask questions. If you want to ask questions, if you have a question, please send it on the comment section, and we will answer you if you have a question. Some of them here are shy, so they've written questions here that I'll ask on their behalf, but I wish they could ask for themselves, but I'll ask the question for them. Most pastors' wives will find a day and talk about that thing on the Glam Show. Most pastors' wives are lesbians. Most pastors' wives use sex toys.
Yeah.
Because their husbands refuse to do their duties.
Mm-hmm.
How do we handle that in the church?
Hey.
Yeah, the Bama Nyami.
This is why I have a man. This is reality. You see, our men of God needs to listen. They are on the run doing the work of God, and they are leaving their home. But the Bible said your first ministry is your family. The needs of our wife. You're a woman of God, you know. Me and you will know.
I'm hosting today, please.
And that's what I'm saying.
Don't put
because
me.
We are on air,
answer your question.
anything.
Answer your question.
But after everything, me and you will know. You see, pastor's wife, they suffer a lot. But they suffer in silence. Because who do you talk to? The church, everybody's looking up to you. The girls, so if you flip, the whole world go against you. Oh, she couldn't endure. Endure. There's some things, it's not about endurance, though. It's about facing the fact. As she said, we married 10, 15 years, and some of the men think we are sisters or brothers. And they are okay. And they can go for a month and, hey, nothing. I wish I can change it. I can let the doctors talk, because I'm seeing somebody I don't want to talk again. Jehovah will help us. So I'll look this way. You see, so some of the men of God, they love the work of God too much, and they neglect their wives. Listen, men of God, women are dying, The pastor's wives, they don't care about us. They don't care whether you feel honey. And then when you feel honey, you go close to them. The way they push you, the attitude they'll give to you, it kills your passion. Oh, because can't you see I'm tired? I just went on around and all that. You see, I love something Noah Jones spoke about.
Yes.
Out of this neglect, in the name of I'm doing ministry, made him, he lost the wife.
Marriage, yeah.
And now it's the regret of his life.
Yes.
Because he thought he was on fire. He will go there, and the wife complains. The whole world will say that the women are the witches.
Yes.
She doesn't support you doing ministry. It is my time, and I'm exploring. Go and you come back, and your wife is gone. And because there will be other women that when you lose your husband, they will come in thinking that the wife is the problem. You go and face the same thing. Mm-hmm. You see, we are human beings. We got feelings. So after everything, give the woman a little chance to explore herself. It can be a month and your husband has not even kissed you. What are you doing to us? Me there when I preach, so now my husband is very careful. Because hey, the way this man of God is looking at me.
Don't look at him. Just,
I'm not looking
just
that. That's I'm changing
don't
my
look in his direction.
I'm changing my position. Because those days, nobody cares. And I changed the way I do my things. You know, sometimes life becomes difficult too. You see, the man of God has changed the position.
Don't mind him.
The truth, you see, they don't want me to say the truth, but this is the truth. The women of God, we are dying. I'm speaking for somebody. I'm speaking for myself. I mean, I don't speak and take myself out.
Yeah.
Because the attention for the church is more than the attention they have for their wives. The needs of the wives have been neglected. And they expect us to be more Holy Ghostic and spiritual to understand it. Refusing that after being spiritual, we still have got feelings. We still need touch. I need you to just, let me put my head on you. At least massage my back a little. These little things, it's not all about the sex, but it's all about the touch, the attention, and the care. Because I'm telling you, if we pick 100 women of God here, pastors' wives here, almost 99% of them have issues with sex issue. Their husbands don't care. And when the day they will give you a chance to sleep with you, they do it anyhow. They do it anyhow. You just want me to have sex, okay, fine. They don't have time to treat the body well. Time, because we go bath well, we put perfumes on our body. Sometimes, you know, we go do expensive things, wear the bees, wear something sweet, and then we want you to say, appreciate Sexuality. You see the bees, say something. This man, talk.
Yeah.
Wait.
I hope you are enjoying this.
I think
I'm having
the men are being lashed, right?
So that's why you study.
I'm not rebutting, but I also want to speak from the perspective of the men.
Okay.
Okay, so that we have a
balance.
balance.
Okay.
I think that it's two-way, right? It must cut in two ways.
Okay.
We must always make sure that we are all doing our part.
Okay.
The man is doing his part. The woman also must do his part. I always said this, that you will get the best of me if you give me peace.
Okay.
If you give me peace at home, I can give you my kidney. A man cannot be the best version of himself if he has no peace at home.
That's the truth.
So, you know, this whole thing about sex, making love, intimacy, it starts from somewhere.
Oh, look, I'm coming. Let me. Wait.
Hold on.
Wait.
Let me
Continue. Wait. No. I was talking before you came.
Yes.
Wait.
So
Wait. This one we're talking about peace issue. We're not talking about peace.
No.
Okay, hold on. I'm coming.
I was building a case.
Yes, I'm also coming.
I like what is happening here.
Hold on. The fact is that what we are trying to say is that it's not about the people, but sometimes because they are exhausted, when they come back with all the ministry works and they're exhausted, their appetite for sex is very low.
Yeah.
That's what we are saying. We are not saying they are struggling at home, but what we are saying is that we are the women. Hold on, we are not cutting anyway. What we are saying is that many women of God in the ministry, married to men of God, because of their appointments or their duties and the places they go, when they come back, sometimes it kills their even sexual desires. Many of the men, yes, because they take a lot of things and it occupies them. So when they come back, they are tired. Even when you try more to resurrect what needs to be resurrected or what they were resurrected, the thing is not working because emotionally they are drained. And they become weak to activate when you need them. Sometimes when they pick up, seconds, they are gone. And the woman, you're hungry. You don't know what to do. So it's not about peace. What you're trying to say is that they should relax a little and you should do more. I'm also here. What we are saying is that they should relax more.
You got me wrong. If you had allowed me to...
Okay, finish. Okay, I'll allow you finish.
Build my case.
Go ahead.
We will not have this.
Go ahead.
Now, in terms of peace, I'm not talking about the confusion at home with women and all of that.
Okay.
I'm talking about the fact that... And you answered that question. Now, I go out, I go to preach, I come back, I'm tired, right? my sex drive is low.
Yeah.
The piece I'm looking for is the key word here is understanding.
Okay.
Understand that I've gone out, I've come back, I'm very tired. Somebody like me, when I'm stressed, oh yeah, then you'll get an erection.
Where's your wife?
We'll talk about that later.
Your wife.
No matter what you do, you will not get.
You know, yeah.
So the piece I want
But
is.
can I come in?
Yes, come in.
It's your mindset.
Doctor, God bless
I'll
you.
come there.
It's your mindset.
I want
because
to
no
address
matter
that.
how it is, whether you are tired, you are not tired.
He has agreed not to resurrect.
Hold on.
That's his problem. He has agreed
Hold on.
to punish a woman.
It's not about that. I think you better understand the physiology of the human body, right?
Yes.
And you understand how certain external factors can affect all of these things.
Yes.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that now this thing I'm saying is not absolute, right?
Okay.
It's not absolute. It's relative from one man to the other. In this particular context, I mentioned me, right? Good. Now let's continue. So what I'm trying to say is that it is both ways. You understand? Now, it's supposed to be a meet. We must meet at a pivot. We must meet somewhere. So where I'm coming from, where you are coming from, we agree in the middle. There is understanding. Then the two of us can enjoy what we need to enjoy as married people. Now, coming back to add up to what Reverend Doctor said concerning the neglect and all of that, I agree. It is very true. And I think that it is lack of focus. Sometimes our focus is we are busy wanting to achieve things. We are busy wanting to make a mark. And then we lose sight of the fact that we have responsibilities at home.
That is what she's talking about.
Yeah.
That is exactly what she's talking about. Many people marry their ministry, marry the congregation, and leave their wives.
But you see, there is
if I will
also
come
another
in,
point. There's also another point where,
Dr. Fari.
I think Doc said attraction.
Yeah.
All right, attraction. And I think when she was saying, she tried to defend it by mentioning something. When I come home, I'm expecting to meet an attractive woman.
Okay.
But and
that is why I was saying that no matter how difficult your day had been, when you get to the house and your wife is in the mood, you have to erect. Please, come and see me. I'll wake it up.
You are making it compulsion. You have to.
It is compulsion.
I agree.
Because anytime the demand is from your side, and you want it, even when the woman is not, you have your way in
It's
there.
true. That is true.
Can I say just one thing?
You touch certain places because they had a very good communication.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
I have to, because the way my son was, I hope you have a car.
Yes.
Now, have you ever tried starting it and the car refused, though it is yours? Have you tried starting your car and the car refused to start?
That is
The
why
battery is
mechanic will come
Yeah,
in.
I'm coming somewhere. So you should know that if the car does not start, then there is something wrong. You don't beat the car to start. You look for a mechanic. After getting the mechanic, he will find the fault. And if he tells you it is going to take 3 months for the car to be fixed, do you respect the orders of the mechanic? Why do you respect it? Because you want your car to be fixed. One thing we need to know, the psyche of men is not the same as that of women when it comes to sex. Women have sex or make love with emotions. Men do so just to satisfy something. And when that thing is satisfied, so we need to be able to balance that. Now, my son said something about agreement. If the woman is into what the man is doing, she will not struggle understanding the state of the man to know what to do. But if she's only focused on herself and how to be satisfied, she stays far from the man. So you do exactly the opposite of what will turn the man on. Men are not turned on by dressing. The little things are the things that turns a man on. And if you, the woman, you think more about yourself to turn him on, you'll be doing the opposite. But if you think more about the man, you will know what to do to turn him on. So these are the things we have to look at. Sex or lovemaking is complex to the woman, but ordinary to the man. So when the woman is expecting lovemaking or sex, she has to be ordinary for the man to find her welcoming. But if you bring your complexity to the man, he will say, "Oh, Hanadri." This is where the women miss it. We see it as ordinary. Not that we are taking it for granted. We say, "Oh, no, go for your cat, woman, no, call a ballock, your map, about 3 minutes. Call a ballock here, 30 seconds, back, yo, me, yeah." And we're coming to a time that, dogs, with all humility and apologies to those watching, we are measuring our men by time, not by performance, but by how long he will last, not how well he does it. So,
no, but that's, I think I
It's
beg to
relative,
differ on
yeah.
that point.
okay, differ for me.
Yes. So let me take two things now. The point about you coming back from work and being tired. The simple solution is that you talk to your wife that, "Honey, I'm a little bit tired."
Communication.
You can take maybe an hour or two of rest, and you are back.
We are good to go.
Yes,
Good to go.
and you are back. I mean, seriously, you are back. Yes, and you are back. You
Thus,
see,
most of our African men are selfish.
yeah, but that's how it's supposed to be, because one thing about women, you know, like Pastor said, for the woman, for you to, if you want to have a sex, we say that if you want to have sex or make love to the woman in the night, you start in the
In the
morning.
morning, yes.
Yes. So even they, it's difficult to turn them on than for a man. It's very easy to turn a man on. And for a woman to want to make love to you, it's a very serious thing. And if, as a man, you reject or refuse
bad,
a
it's
woman,
bad, it's
it's
bad.
not easy. So you have to know that you take a rest. In an hour or two, you are back on the road.
Rejuvenate yourself.
Exactly. You can even say that, "Oh, okay, you let's sleep small. At dawn, you are back." Or even midnight, you are back on the road. Then the complex nature, actually, the little things that we talk about is actually on the side of the woman. Because for a man, you are good to go. It's very easy to spark it. You understand? But of course, the tiredness and the rest.
The woman of God mentioned
Yes.
pastors.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yes, it is easy to think you know what goes into ministry
Yeah.
because you have read a book until you are in ministry.
Yeah.
So most of the times when doctors are talking about that, I would prefer to listen to a pastor doctor.
Okay.
Because if you know what goes, you know it, she knows it,
Yeah.
he knows. If you know what goes into being this nika work, and then you come home, oh, so mommy, let's speak the truth.
That's the truth.
Sometimes the appetite was killed from the office as a pastor. When you get home, your wife wants to do something, but the appetite has been killed. Who wakes who up?
We will try. Allow yourself
Because
to be waked up.
not all erections are meant for sex.
Yeah.
We should know that.
Yeah, of course.
Not all erections. Some are to remind you that you are still a man.
Yeah.
Some are to remind you it is time to pee. Some are to remind you it is 3 a.m. Hello. Do I have some men here?
Yes.
So 3 a.m. You need to do something, right?
I like Dr. Ferry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the fact of the matter is that in our profession, we tend to encounter this a lot.
Yes.
And you know, the psyche of a man, just like you said,
It's different from a
everybody
woman.
goes through that. Because there are people, for example, who also get so tired, so exhausted, and all that. But with time, we've come to know that if, for example, what I said, you rest, after a while, you are back on the road. Because the thing is that, and like we always say, if you don't take it, it becomes a cycle of excuse. Oh, I'm tired. Let me rest.
You lose the marriage.
And it becomes recurrent.
Account,
Then
Fiona.
1 week will go.
Is that what you want?
weeks,
No, she wanted to say something.
1 month. Then 3 months. Just like you use the analogy of the car.
Yes.
You get it?
Yes.
Fine. The car may not start at that point.
Yes.
What is the problem?
You work
Maybe
towards
it's even
it.
battery. You don't even need to call the mechanic. You open the bonnet, realize that maybe the what do you call, how do you call the electrodes? It just
See,
off.
and
You fix
doctor,
it there,
if you have a
and
car
you are good to
and you have
go.
attention for the car,
Yes.
and you are careful and you take care of the car,
Yes.
it doesn't just get spoiled. It's always working.
You see,
And
Mama
for-
Charlotte to it.
Daddy, before
In fact, I came.
He came because of me.
And with the pastors, what normally happens is that when there are programs, and if it persists, the excuses persist, as Doctor was saying. Then 1 week goes on, 2 weeks goes on. I have a program, I have to fast. And the difficult part of some of the conversations and things we encounter in the consulting room is that when they are having programs or they are having fasting, there's no sex. And this is the time that the woman...
Don't look at me. I climax my fasting. In fact, I break my. Don't we break fast?
You break.
So when I break my fast,
You can have sex.
I will tell you that during that 21
They
one
fasted,
month,
they
21,
will
no.
never.
In
Sometimes 40 days, 40 days.
so
What is it?
Now, even during the fast, even during the fast, firing is around.
Let me react to this.
So if people understand, we are good to go.
You and who are good to go.
I think I'm one of the people who don't support this. I am fasting, so no sex.
You are my son.
I don't support it.
You are my son.
Because no matter how high you go, you have to come down.
And if that one, it gingers you to
It's
fast
very
more.
powerful.
Well, viewers, revelation. You see, one of the things I love to advocate is truth and plain sheets. Let's not introduce this TV and media make-up things that we make people believe that which is really not so. Genuinely speaking, there are things that when a woman does consistently, it kills the desire for the man. So, docs, with all humility, in as much as there are things to do to work on it, there are things also when you do, you kill the work. Because like I said earlier, not all erections are meant for sex. And not all horny feelings of the woman is also a feeling for sex. Because the fact that you are ovulating and you are horny perpetually does not mean you should be slept with continuously.
But, Papa, is there anything wrong if we want it?
That one,
There's nothing wrong with it.
in fact,
Doctor, is it okay?
the
Man
number,
of God, is it okay?
Doc, one thing you should let us know
Very legal.
that the usage of each perpetually at the end of the day benefits the woman, but in old age affects the man.
Is that right?
Overriding.
your question comes in now.
You see, so you, the woman, must also help the man so that can your body
We'll
and
give you food. We'll help you.
Please, you have a question?
And what Pastor said
Okay.
about things that kill the man's ego, performance, and all that, if you realize, it's the woman that are at the worst end of it.
Yes.
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 It's the woman who are at the worst end of it.
Yes.
Because the woman, as it is, sometimes they are not vocal enough. They are not able to express themselves.
Yeah.
And as we know, the woman is so unique and special and complex that those little, just as I said, if you want to make love to a woman, you start in the morning. So even the way you talk to her, the way you handle her.
Can I play the devil's advocate here? So who starts the man's own?
Who starts?
If the man should start what he wants to do with the woman from the morning, who starts the
We
man's
will
own?
start it
It's
for
the
you.
woman.
I think
it's the
yes, I
woman.
think it
We
takes.
are there to start.
I am playing the devil's advocate.
It takes two to
So
tango.
thank you.
And
So
we
You are my son.
No, we are
Bring
there
me
to
chocolate
start.
for my son.
We are, Papa, we are always there to start for you people.
We realize that, you know, in this situation and what we are discussing, we the men, or some of the men, or some of us are advocating for the women. And we know why.
Whilst there are women here.
No, they know the women better than themselves.
Because they know the women suffers more.
Yes. You see, the women, they go through so much. Even a month, your menses,
Yeah.
the ovulation,
Yeah.
the cycles, all the changes
Yeah.
that happen. Even we are talking
pain,
about this.
So the sex
so much.
is a means of compensation.
Not a means of compensation, but we have to realize that
For enjoyment,
The
and for
woman-
us to reach, you know, we have
the
to
woman is
refresh.
a special being. And in terms of we even reaching out,
I think I have to get
we have
closer to
reach
this
out
man.
more towards the woman than to the men.
Don't worry about setting your camera.
I think that when we have to come to a level of understanding, right? Understand the woman, understand the man. For me, I think that when we come from that level, we will be okay. Everybody will be okay, because I know that 90% of women are not able to ask for sex
True.
by verbalizing it. They use body language.
Body language, yes.
All right. They use body language.
Yes.
So why don't we meet each other halfway so we can enjoy? I think that is very important. I think what society has done is to bastardize women who are bold to ask for sex, like Reverend Doctor said. We have bastardized them. What say? But I'm your wife. Miss Emma.
Miss Emma, in fact, we are having a good time on set here. I believe that we've done over an hour plus and almost 2 hours, and we are not even feeling we are tired. Audience, are you tired? A very interesting topic. And
I have a question.
I want to ask, you ask your question, please, I beg you. I asked Dr. Donko a question before we went to Mama Charlotte. Though my question was not answered, but me find the 14th, but when I give you the chance, you can talk about it. Doc, we want to know when, it varies from woman to woman, from adolescent to whatever. When is a woman's libido high, and when you get to your peak, down, if we can know the stages and how we'll be able to carry ourselves.
The libido of every woman is different. Some will start at adolescent age. And these are women who are quite exposed early, if I should use that term. So they interact in sex very early, and then they have the sexual libido at its peak. Some of the women get to their peak at the very early stages of marriage. And we always talk to the women and say, and especially when women come to the consulting room concerning infertility, the first question you ask is, how often do they have sex in a week? And some of the women will look at my husband, and he's the one. This one will also say that this one should answer that question. Libido should start immediately after sex. And immediately after sex should be the time it should be at its peak. Gradually, when you stay with each other, it drops and it dips. And it also comes with age, because the woman is aging, her body system is changing. And this is the situation whereby the interest also goes down, the attraction also goes down, the feeling also goes down. This is the situation whereby after delivery, as Reverend Doctor was saying, body changes. The man tends to look at the woman in certain ways. Now the woman's tummy is now big. The flat tummy is no more. The man in his mind always wants this woman to have this flat tummy. So immediately after delivery, you see this woman putting on the corset and all kinds of things, trying to please the men and make them more attractive to the men. And it is wrong. It is for the man to understand that things have changed. And the exercises for the vagina to be more tightened is one of the key things we tell the women after delivery, especially those who deliver through their vagina, that they are supposed to have this Kegel exercise most of the time.
It's called Kegel.
Kegel, yes.
So maybe somebody's asking, what is Kegel?
Doc.
What you are supposed to do is squeeze the anus. Whilst you are squeezing the anus, you can be trying it. I want to see it.
So maybe the way to make it easier.
Like I am practicing.
No, the way to make it easier. So let's say you feel the urge to pass the gas.
Okay.
But you are in a place that you cannot pass the gas. What do? You squeeze.
Yes.
Or you have the, or hold, or you have the urge, listen, to pass urine. You want to hold. So that's how you do it. And you can do it several times in a day. Anytime your mind comes on it.
Doc, I hear you do it like 10 seconds.
Yes.
I have a question.
You can squeeze and hold.
Yes.
Doc,
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay, please.
I have a question on this Miamo Oduna thing. No? I have a question on this Bele. You speak Ga? You speak Ga?
No.
Oh, Jesus. Now, which is safe? Using herbs or drugs to keep it tight, or the natural way you are teaching? Which is advisable? And if you use any herb or medicine, as you keep using it, is there a way it will have effect on your man?
Your man, okay.
The use of drugs is an abomination. We don't encourage the women, or we don't encourage the men to use drugs. With the women, the exercise helps, and it does a very marvel work if you're able to do it well and consistently do them every day. You can squeeze, you hold your breath, you squeeze, you hold your breath, you squeeze, you hold. You are not supposed to put in any medication into the vagina.
Please, can you repeat?
I'm repeating it, unless it is recommended by a doctor. No drugs. There are instances whereby women, even before sex, they go to the shower, they pull the shower off, they open the pipe to the high speed, they put it in there, they wash. Do you think I will look inside before I put my something there?
How do you say that one in English?
They squeeze.
They roll the herb like a ball and put it there.
It is not done. We've had instances whereby women come with necrosis in the vagina because the medicines, the noses and stuff, and ring, vagina atresia and all that.
And there's a lot of things happening out there because sometimes the women are pushed to certain limits. Yeah. So as Doc even said, the natural changes that happens when after birth, for example, physically it's a problem. For example, you may actually maybe be, let's say, bigger than you used to be. It's natural. But like the exercise we talked about, and even certain sexual positions can also help to narrow the place. If it actually gets to a point that maybe these things that we talked about, the exercise, the place not helping, there are people that we actually have to do certain medical procedures for them. Because, for example, sometimes you could deliver and you could have a tear that is not well managed. Yes, well managed. So we need to, at least the gynecologist has to come in and help you to be able to correct that. So those are there. But you find that some of the women will not even come and report. So they will be suffering in silence. And the men, of course, if the man is not feeling good as he used to be, then some way, somehow, he may be on his way out.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and there are women who are bold enough to come and say that they think the place is not as it used to be. And they are right. And we need to listen to them, and whatever we have to do to be able to assist them, we have to do it. Because it's a problem for some people. So we shouldn't just write them off. We need to listen to what they are saying. Of course, some of them are overly, what's the word to use? Overly concerned and sometimes it gets into their head. But if you even evaluate them, examine them, you realize that there's really nothing going on. There are people, or there are even some women that they actually get to a point that the place becomes so narrow that we even need to do some procedures to kind of open the place a bit for them. Especially those who have been inserting these herbs and sitting on hot water and all that.
So it's wrong to even apply hot water there.
You are cooking the place.
The fact of the
You are
matter
cooking
is
the place.
the warm, we call it sit bath. You can do sit bath. That one is prescribed and there's a way of doing it.
Okay.
But it's not everybody that you have to do sit bath. And the way some women even do it is boiling water, 100 degrees
You
Celsius.
kill everything there. You will not feel anything again. Then you say, Menyadi.
Pastor, he did for. Yes. Actually, the normal flora there, if you insert some of these things there, if you apply certain heat, certain concoction, you are going to destroy those normal flora. Then the bad organisms will have a field day. So there are some women every day they have infections. Every day they don't even understand what is going on. They've not gone anywhere. But because of certain practices that have destroyed the normal good organisms there, that is why now they are predisposed to some of these problems.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So coming back to Doc, thank you. I don't know, we should have done part 1, part 2 of we should have done, and we will wrap up now, and then maybe another time we will come back to. But before then, there are some questions we'll run with. We'll just run with. So somebody's asking on the Facebook Live and on, like, the audience here, the BDSM. What is BDSM?
It's a sexual practice, right, that a couple can decide to engage in. And it's all based on preferences. Like we said, there are things that will turn a man on, things that will turn a woman on. So the B is bondage, where it's like the whole activity is like a role play. So a man loves to be handcuffed to the bed, handcuff the two arms,
Suicide.
handcuff the two legs.
Suicide.
You
No
know.
go feel ni keba jenda unwe.
And
Police
then
baba me.
there are others too. The woman wants to be the
Be
ones
spanked.
in
Feel
the bondage.
pain, feel pain.
So you are in bondage, then dominance. So either the male
The
figure,
B is bondage,
bondage,
the D
D is
dominance.
dominance, and then the S. Let me try and get it.
Is this slavery?
Let me give it stamina.
Submission.
Submission.
So you will find that the man sometimes want to act like a
Hold
dog.
the throat.
You know, yes,
A
a
dog.
dog. They will put a chain around his neck,
Or a horse.
or a horse, or
And then they sit
so
on
it can
you.
be vice
And then
versa.
they'll be whipping you.
Yes, and then with sadism. With sadism,
Sadism.
one person loves to,
Be the victim.
for pain to be inflicted on
Yeah.
them.
Yes.
And that is a turn on
They have the whip.
for some of them.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes it happens, whilst the man is thrusting here and there, they'll be
The
banging the
whipping.
bats and all of that.
Jimmy wa.
Sometimes,
Baba.
yes.
Are you beyond
that is-
Mamprobi?
So that is how it works. Sometimes also, like they want to be taken through some physical and emotional pain. That is what turns them on.
And it's
You know,
somebody's sexual
And-
fantasy.
Yes,
And
you
to
heard
top up to what?
Sometimes you heard that a lady will say that I want a guy who is bad. I want a guy who can beat me. That is a turn on for them.
Yeah.
Other men too will say, I don't want a good girl. I want a bad girl.
Yes.
That is a turn on
Yes.
for them. And it is practiced.
So I want to say two things about what he just said. Not something that is a lie. There is a community, or there are communities, that the young ladies there boast of the love their men have for them based on the number of times they beat them. Based on the number of times they beat them.
They will even provoke it.
Yeah, so if after a month or two they've not been beaten, then the love is dying. So they will try to do something to get the man angry, and then after beating them, I'm not talking about ordinary beating. No. So, and like he said, I remember one time a gentleman came to me, Crife, so he was like, they were not going to touch each other till they marry. But somewhere along the line, he was talking to the lady and then she forgot herself or something, I don't know. And she came out. Hey, media, one bomia. Enya middle. Woo ye no. Now woo bome. And yet agro the enemy bome. Na enya me ya eno. So he came to me and I was like, it could be from where she was raised. 2, movies and videos, because pornography
50 Shades of Grey.
Yes. Pornography can push you into something. And it is dangerous. If you are innocent and you fall into that, you will be scared. Both the male and the female. And Doc said something about many use watrofain. I believe if we will take what they have said, my daughters, my sisters, my mothers, and all of you, it will be okay for you. Stop using shipon chofa, new hair be. How do you, Madam Moderator, can you say this in English for me? Stop using shipon chofa. Ake ofe new hair bello. I was waiting for you to.
So stop taking stuff that would, or using stuff that would
both
make
foreign and local. Learn to squeeze.
Yeah.
I just demonstrated to you. Learn to squeeze. Like you don't want to fart in the open. The way you hold it. You are peeing and you want to pause.
I can see some of you doing it and trying it.
Okay, all of us. 1, 2, 3, try. Oh.
One catch. You should actually practice when you're making love with your husband.
Ah, this man you spoil. It is very good for every man. Doc, true or false? When hey,
Let me go.
I am not safe where I'm sitting.
Let me go to
Let me come. My son will be shy to respond.
Let me go to my second.
So how does it feel when the pee is held back?
You
Stop
know he
being
can't talk.
angelic. Stop being angelic.
Let me go to my second question that the audience are asking me.
Okay.
She says she's a very young lady in her 20s. Though not married, she can tell if she's satisfied or not.
If she's satisfied in what? Eating banku, kenke, or what?
Sex. Because we're
sex.
talking about people who are not satisfied, who don't even have...
That is a plus for her. She should be able to then hold on to the knowledge. And then after marriage, help your man know how to satisfy you. Stop treating us like magicians. We should know by all means.
But let me come in. There may be certain characteristics or there may be certain properties that the lady has acquired that makes her more satisfied. And that makes her not satisfied. So some of these features need to be looked for when you are choosing your partner.
Yeah.
That is what is going to help the woman to get more satisfied and stick to the marriage. Otherwise, when he goes in, and this is where sometimes we doctors have a problem of no sex before marriage.
No, we're in the church.
Yes.
No, Zaf Mami, I said. I'm on the ground. You see, Zaf Mami, we should. Doc, let me say something. We should be able to be frank to many things.
Yeah.
We have spiritual aspect.
Yes.
But the spirit lives in a body. Many have regretted. I am playing the devil's advocate. I told you earlier, I'm not wearing a clerical collar. But I'm asking and defending this for those who find them. Many have regretted saying no sex before marriage, especially the women. Only for them after their their honeymoon, the man says, can we pray for 3 hours?
Oh.
When they finish, the lady is tired, so she slept. the next day you know it is the beginning of our marriage. Can we build it on a 1 week fasting?
No.
Not knowing the guy is not yet connected to Akosombo. So there is no power.
This is not marriage, oh. We can break it.
We can break it. Yes.
That was the scenario I was going to give, and then Pastor just came in. And there have been instances whereby there is no even sperm.
And the men know it. They have an idea.
Some don't know.
Okay.
I'm even handling cases whereby the men don't even have testes.
Jesus.
This comes to.
Are you serious?
Yes, this comes to issues where most of the time when I go to churches or other places for a program, especially on infertility, infections, and other stuff, I always tell the women, and I'm happy to see a lot of women here, if you give birth to a male child, and especially in settings where there are a lot of deliveries, especially like when you come to Tema General Hospital, we are delivering a lot of babies at a time. The midwife don't even have time to really assess the babies well. As a mother, quickly find out and see whether you can find those 2 stones in the scrotum.
Doctor, you check my own, no? It's there.
Your own or your son's? If you say your own.
My son's own.
Okay.
Always make sure that if you have a male child, check whether the testes are in the scrotum. I'm not saying just look at the sac that is there. Feel it and see whether you can see 2 stones. We have instances whereby even just here at Inkum Hospital, mother comes in at with a 10-year-old boy, comes to see me in the consult room. We assess and the testicles is only one. The other one is tucked in the canal. And sometimes surgeries need to be done quickly with PDs at Kolebu and other places to pull them out into the scrotum. And this man is more than 40 years, got married to a lady, and when they went for honeymoon, after a series of sex, there's no sperm coming out. There is nothing.
So instead of...
So this is the instances, Pastor is talking about where there's no unconnected...
Not to cut him. Just about 2 days ago, a case that I saw, a 38-year-old man. Like, I'm also investigating them for infertility. So you do both tests for the man and the woman. So when we did for the man, there's no sperm in the semen.
Wow.
Yes. He's young, 38.
But no sperm.
No sperm.
So maybe because of our policy, no sex before marriage.
Of course.
Can we do medical checks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before
marriage.
marriage.
There are some, I think there are some churches that they advocate for that.
Yes,
Sometimes
we do
you'll
here.
be there and
Now,
they come, they say
we
they are
started
going
now, we
to
do
have
now.
this, so they want to do some
Then we
medical
don't have to do.
check and
You
all.
see,
Yes, we do now.
This is what is going on now. Until now,
We didn't know.
women who even knew they couldn't bear children,
They knew.
they knew,
Yeah.
wouldn't tell the men.
Sometimes
after the
woman
marriage,
is not there.
After the marriage,
Things happen.
it gets to a point.
How long
when,
will you lie?
No, when a woman decides to lie, she can lie. She can lie till Jesus comes. So when it happens like that, you end up, and if you are not lucky and you climb the spiritual ladder to a place, before discovering this, the question is, do you go back?
That's the problem.
Okay, so
I think we have
When
to.
you lie and they leave you, it's your fault.
So let
But
me...
will society understand?
That's the problem. Why
So-
would you lie?
In
Not
fact,
the man
docs,
don't have the woman.
I am saying this live for everybody to know. Well, viewers, Docs and Dokwa have agreed that 2 weeks, check the date, Saturday coming week, we will come back to this very topic and we will go deeper and we'll have more time so Docs and Dokwa will reschedule
Thank
their
you.
program. It is coming from Apostle Abraham Lamte. So they will reschedule themselves. I'll call Prophet Odru immediately after this to release you 2 weeks from now. So, because these things are sensitive, so sensitive that we don't just need to brush through them. And everybody will get a copy of the questions here.
I want to rush through it, then...
They will all have to be answered.
Everybody, just short ones. Then everybody will have their last say then we are done.
Okay.
Okay,
But
so
2 weeks from now,
we are coming back.
you are
We are coming back.
invited.
How does religion affect a woman's sexuality? So you're a woman. How does religion affect a woman's sexuality?
It suppresses the sexuality.
It suppresses.
Suppresses.
Thank you, dog.
Restrictions. It puts restrictions. It doesn't
Restrictions.
make-
You
yes.
can't exploit.
It doesn't explore. It doesn't make the woman.
in Ghana, eha ofe ashifo. Now,
Yes.
it is not a bad term.
Yes.
Ashifo in Ghana is not a bad term. Adjomang is a bad term.
Yeah.
But ashifo, eha ofe flirtatious.
Yes. You're not flexible.
So it's okay to be flirtatious as a
It's
Christian woman
beautiful.
in the marital setting, not
In your
when-
home.
in your relationship before the time
but
comes.
not sex before marriage.
I said flirt. Amen.
So why is virginity important in religion, man of God?
21st century. Virginity is relative.
Like you said, you know a lady who is a virgin in the vagina, but not a virgin in the anus.
But devirginated.
In the
You see,
anus.
so it's relative. So which part of virginity are we talking
Every
about?
part virgin.
So it's important that you keep your virginity for
You
your
keep it,
husband
yeah.
until you're.
Because
but
then you don't know what you might be getting yourself into.
Yeah.
So it's important that you keep
so
yourself.
is it a sin to lose your virginity before marriage? That
No. He did not come to save the righteous.
Okay, so you could be
Yeah,
a designated one and still
see,
be a free.
There are
Secondary virginity.
things we do that pushes people out
Yeah.
whilst they are coming
They're
for
coming to
refuge.
you.
So to have your virginity broken
Yeah.
is not having your salvation broken.
That's it.
That's right.
You still have a chance with God.
God bless you, sir. Dr. Afari, please. I was abused whilst growing up, and ever since then, I see and feel sexual acts as abuse. What help do I need?
Yeah, so it's one of the problems that some women have, and this one can actually affect their relationships and even marriage. So such a person, I think she will need a professional help. We take her through the therapy so that she'll be able to deprogram all the abuses, everything, then she can be on a good setting. If not, it's going to really affect her in her marriage. So she needs to seek help. Yes.
Dr. Donko, are there any health benefits and spiritual implications? You are a Christian, first of all. You're not a pastor, but you're a Christian, first of all. So it's good I'm asking this. Implication of giving your husband a blowjob.
What is that? What is? No, not everybody knows what a blowjob is. What is that? Can somebody help?
I can
Yes.
explain. So you
Doctor, I was looking somewhere and it was transferred to you. What is?
you handle the penis and you put it in your mouth.
Okay.
That is
Oh,
blowjob.
that one.
Yeah, that
Okay, doctor. Oh, Jesus.
There are certain
Jesus.
men who like it. There are
Very
certain-
much.
Some
Very
men
much.
who don't like it. It depends on the woman.
Okay.
And sometimes it depends on certain hygiene practices. If there is a lot of hair, there is bush, there is even
Well,
cockroaches, there are things running around, and you're expecting the woman- and you're expecting the woman to quickly, and then immediately after work, you come after sweat.
No.
It's
Some men are smelling out of that, but they'll pull your head and still, you know.
So as we say, if you want somebody to go down on you, you have to be
Clean your
Is
down.
that
of
health?
If you
any-
know that is your favorite.
yes. So
Keep
you
your
have to
down
be
clean.
ready.
There's no health implication and there's no side effect.
There's no spiritual implication.
Can you please read?
There's
Echo.
no health. There's no health implication.
Okay. So it is good.
It can be done, but if it is done on unhygienic practices and
Okay, somebody just chipped in throat cancer.
that is the other way.
Exactly. So you
the
only
man,
get, yeah,
The woman.
yes.
The man
Oh,
and
okay.
on the woman.
Yes.
You could get a throat
We have
cancer.
instances where the men, not to cut him, always put their mouth into the vagina
Yeah.
of the lick.
Yeah.
They play around the vulva. They do do all kinds of things. They can push their tongue through, go around it.
Hey,
go
there are
around
professionals,
the anus, all over the corners and everything.
There are
I know so
professionals.
Hey,
Hey, a man for Kwenim. As of where I catch you.
If the woman has infection, this infection can be transmitted to the man. And this infection can get into the throat. And it is believed that sometimes when there are viral infections,
Like HPV.
like HPV, human papilloma
Papilloma
virus,
virus,
and
yeah.
other stuff, these things can contribute to. Sometimes in medicine, it is believed that viruses are some of the major causes of cancer cells growing abnormally. So if there are viral infections in the vagina, these things can get into the throat of the man. And sometimes we believe that men who come with throat cancers are perpetual habit or habitual
Leakers. You are afraid
Of
of.
course, for the throat cancer, there are other risk factors. Yes. And those other risk factors, in terms of if you want to grade it, they are major. Then the HPV and the viruses, like Doc is saying, it's part of it, but not the major.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, so Mama Charlotte, how do you get to know your sensitive parts when you are new to sex?
When you're new to sex.
Yes.
Okay. With me, okay, personally, before I met my husband, there were some parts of my body. You know when you go to school and all that.
at puberty.
There's some parts when you touch you yourself, you have some kind of
wobble,
feelings.
wobble.
Yes, you feel
get some
that
tingling.
edge. Yes. So you know it, but not too much until you get married or you have sex. Then you realize, oh, okay, really, the way I was feeling, this is what it is. So you start having it before even getting to sex. So it's normal. For me, I know everything. Small.
So generally, there are certain places. I mean, for the woman, the back of the ear,
Okay,
the lips,
2,
the nipple.
3. Oh, Doc, Merkine.
Counting.
I have only 3.
Of course, the clitoris, some
4,
people even the inner thighs,
5,
the toes,
6,
the fingers.
7.
How many did you want? In the back.
Around the waist.
Yes.
Yes.
The bottom.
Some
kiss the
are
waist and
sensitive
the
here
tail.
between the link. From woman. Hey, Nilante.
Okay, so this one, it goes to you.
Is my name written?
No, but it goes to you. Is it good to watch pornography with your partner?
Me. Okay, no, listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Why do we go to school? You can't ask somebody to teach you how to do it. It shouldn't be a habit or a character. But when it becomes necessary for you to learn something,
Ish.
I am not against it. I hate hypocrisy. You see, there are things that you can't be taught because you can't ask to be taught.
But pornography is make-believe.
Make believe.
It's not like they're doing...
You see, one year nukreka na ya fa wano akosi boni. It is, or see, is it good with your partner? One can say on your own. That is why I'm answering it this way. So see, on your own, I will say no.
But this one is it for everybody for the church?
It's not for the church.
For everybody?
For everybody.
And for everybody?
You see, I am answering the question vaguely because it is asked vaguely.
Pornographic is a sin.
I will say no based on where you are standing. And I will also say yes based on where you're standing.
But those who are even doing the pornographic, they are not correct.
Yes,
No,
they're
it's no,
under
it's a
some.
No, Papa, no.
They're under
Sometimes
some.
when you see them, those people, they are not correct.
Do you know why my son turned to face me? Because we've talked about things of that nature.
Okay.
And you see, they will tell you in counseling, if you don't have an open mind, you will be judgmental.
Oh, yeah.
So you always have to create a welcoming atmosphere
For everyone.
so the person can open up. So this will let somebody who is buried in pornography say, oh, I can go to this man and let him help me.
You need to be
Then
serious.
you use the scripture to take the person out.
Amen.
But if you hit directly
Yeah.
that it is wrong,
Because
they will
it's
hide it.
addictive. It's addictive if you don't
They
take
will
care.
hide it. I, Abraham Lamptey, I have been addicted to pornography before.
Okay.
You see, I was so addicted to it that when I wake up in the morning and I don't watch it. But what saved me was that though I watch, I don't desire to do what they do. But whatever it is that I saw, the good and wise skills and styles, and styles, you know.
I think it's better you sit here.
I wanted to react to that.
You are reacting to.
I'm trying to reset.
I think I want us to look at it from the fact that we are social beings, right?
Yes.
And there's a need for us to learn. But then we have to apply discretion.
Yes.
There is a place everything starts, and there's a place it stops. There is no wrong. I say that truth is parallel. When a Muslim tells me don't steal, I will not say because he's a Muslim and I'm a Christian, I will not listen.
Yeah.
That's true.
You understand? So we first have to understand. If you don't know it and you have to learn, you have to watch to learn. There's nothing wrong with it.
There are other options we can get
There
than
should-
watching pornography. I disagree. There are two doctors
No,
here
it's
who we
fine.
can go to and seek for direction.
It's fine.
I stand against it
It's
and I
fine.
won't change my mind towards
It's-
it.
no, that's the
Pornography is wrong and it's wrong.
It's fine if you disagree.
I disagree.
Because it's your
Who was-
She
perspective.
disagrees
You
and
understand?
spies me.
But
she
I-
will disagree and despise me.
I want us to look at it, from very holistically. Let's look at it in its completeness. There are things we can't readily condemn because we are social beings first.
That's what I'm talking about.
So if there is the need for you to learn something, you learn it and add it to your wealth of knowledge. Then you move up. You understand? So for instance, do I say that these handsome men who are Guyanese are sinners?
Why will you say that?
Because they
Because
see
they
the
are
vag-
looking under-
because
they
they
see
see vagina
people's
every day.
wives' private
Listen,
parts.
listen.
Yes.
Okay, wait.
No, let me finish.
If this is how you
I
want to
asked the
take it, hold on.
I asked the question.
I also want to ask you a question.
You see, my
Those who are
question.
doing pornography,
In fact, you people, it is not your
they
question.
are creating it
It
on
is
their
my
own.
question. Leave my
The
question to
sounds
me.
they are doing is
No.
a creative thing they are doing on their own.
It is my
If they can
question.
create
It
I
is
can
my
create
question.
It on my own.
Hold on.
It is my
I
question.
will
Leave
not
my
want
question
pornography
for
to
me.
learn a style.
No.
Because
no.
if
No.
I'm coming, if somebody can create a style and do a video,
I can also
I
create
can also
one.
do the same.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch pornography for any style.
Okay.
Me, my styles I
Wait,
learned,
wait,
I
my
didn't
son,
learn
calm
from
down.
pornography.
I agree.
created
Dog.
it on my own. I
Dog.
can change my style because
No,
you can't
now
tell me to
this-
do doggy. I'm not a dog. So I have a name for my styles in my room.
But it is the same posture.
No, it's not. I add something to it.
Woman of God.
Oh no, man.
Women of
Oh
God.
no, Shifo.
Woman of God.
Now,
That
let me
is
say
not-
this,
let me-
Doc.
that
You
is-
see,
let me say this.
okay.
That is not to say that
It is
Quality
good.
Sobojo affirms pornography.
In the case of what?
I mentioned my name. That is not to say that I affirm
Oh, okay.
pornography.
Be clear
We are
then.
saying this for the purpose of education.
Education, okay.
I don't watch pornography.
Thank you.
You understand?
Educate them to go to the
So
gynecologist.
we have to, at least, there are people who cannot go to the gynae. So how do we satisfy
Is that what
them
practice?
also?
Are your
We must always-
consultations
we must always
free?
be open.
You see,
about
you
some
see,
of these
you
things.
see, you
Who pay and
see.
come?
And
Teach
what
us.
if they don't have money to pay? And you are saying they should
You
pay
see?
to learn.
You use credit to watch pornography. We take credit,
Yes.
put it on our phone, go to
Yes.
the site and watch it.
Yes.
No way.
How much money will it cost you?
Everything that
Buy
is not
internet
good
platform.
is
Abraham
cheap.
Lampe is troublesome.
Everything
My
that is
question.
quality is
My
expensive.
question.
Whoever wrote this question has brought a problem.
Anything that is cheap.
Whoever wrote it, please lift your hand. I'll give you
You
something.
see, I want us to.
God bless you. Now let me say
I
this.
want us
My
to-
son, hold on. Now,
We'll continue.
Mama Charlotte,
We'll continue.
let me give you some ice water here.
Okay.
Docs, are your consultations for free?
Oh, yeah.
Is
They
it
are
10
not
cities? I'm
for
coming.
free.
Is it 10 cities?
No.
Is it 20 cities?
No.
Good. Now, here is somebody raised in a community, in an environment that is the order of the day. That is where she grew. This is what she knows. He knows. And the person comes to you with this. You don't immediately condemn.
No, that one, no.
But when you say directly no, you push the person into defensive mood.
Yeah, to
And they will
defend
not be able to
himself.
So they
Open up
will
to you.
hide
Yes,
and
to
do
defend
it.
himself, yeah.
And if you are not lucky, they will be in the position to satisfy your son better than that believer in the church.
Oh, yeah.
And she will end up getting your son out of what you condemned. And you did not give her the chance to open up.
I'm teaching my sons and my daughters with styles. I'll teach all of them. Me, I'm teaching everybody. Nobody wants
Okay.
to know. I will teach you the right style.
Where is my camera? Where's my camera? Where is my
2
camera?
weeks from now, keep the date.
Where is my camera? Okay,
So
it's getting.
for us, we don't encourage it
Yes.
because it has implications.
Yes.
A lot.
Both physical,
spiritual.
Mental and
Spiritual.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
But of course, the point that Pastor is making is that we should have a welcoming attitude so that
Oh,
those
yes,
who
for
have
that,
those
yes.
problems can
Doc,
help.
you'll be
come for help.
surprised that the young men in the church, 90% are into
Watch,
porn.
it's not only the young men,
And the
old
women.
men are also
Women,
doing it.
yes.
Everybody, most of
In
them.
90%
fact,
of
you
them
people
are
are taking,
Yes, many are watching it.
Many
you are taking the pastors out of it. Don't say the
pastors,
young men
okay,
and the women.
every-
From top,
the head to
Both
the toe,
men
everybody.
and women are into
And
it.
you know, most of the time when they watch it, some can release.
hey,
Yeah, of course.
Yes, they must have been out of it.
I see.
In the process.
Some
Yes.
get released because you cannot
must have
watch
been through
this
the process.
thing and not feel anything. Then you're not human.
But in my
You
personal,
feel something within
my,
your body.
You,
My
you
personal-
can get, with my experience, okay, you can get addicted to it to a point that you don't feel anything.
want to watch it every
You-
time.
You are addicted to what they are doing, but it has no effect
But
on you.
anything you are addicted to, has a way of influencing you.
Now, the influence is on your mind, but
Yes.
not.
But when your mind is influenced, your body is influenced.
okay, so let me moderate this. My personal.
You see how they have
take-
taken my question from
my
me.
my personal take on this is that I personally, I don't sip. I drink deep. When I start something, I don't leave it in the middle. I go deep into it. So I don't start at all. So my personal take on pornography is a no-no for me personally. Because when I go into it, I'll go deeper and deeper. My husband might not be able to satisfy me anymore.
Yeah.
Because there are styles.
Try me. Faber was to try me.
Drink deep or taste not.
That is it.
So
Try me.
the spiritual implications, the physical implications, the emotional implications. When you start with your husband and he wants you to stand and hang yourself before
no, we are
sleeping
not
with
doing
you,
it.
you'll
Because
not be
people, they
able
can
to
do
do
He
it.
wants you to do what?
Hang yourself.
At age
This
56.
is no.
So
56.
two more questions.
You-
Is there anyone else? You want to ask yourself? Okay. So two
Oh,
and
our
then.
time. We'll come next time. Hold your questions.
This one is very important. When your husband travels, is it allowed to touch yourself?
No.
Is it okay to have phone sex?
So you can't even wait, Kaka. How long is it taking?
Sister, say 5 years, sir.
We'll be okay.
You see, you are stammering. You see, you are stammering.
It's not easy. It's not easy, though. But touching myself or whatever I want to do still doesn't bring him to me. The truth is that it's not the 5 minutes satisfaction I'm getting that is important, but the effect that I will get after it. If I'm touching myself for 5 years and it's not coming, if I make a mistake and any man gets close to me, it's easy for me to have sex. You see, there are days we need to sacrifice some things. Sex is good, but sex is not everything.
This is what I was waiting for.
So this is what we need to. We are talking about sex, but we need to also be cautious about this. It's not all about the sex. If it's not there 5 years, then so what? Wait for him. He will come.
Mama
This
Charlotte,
is satisfaction.
you are different.
Oh no, that is my take.
That is you.
That is my
But
take.
I used to have
That's
a
my
friend
take, yeah.
whose husband was out, and the man bought her a sex toy. And they have sex.
This is dangerous. Oh.
Yes, they have sex.
Dangerous.
So touch here, touch there, do that. And they have sex, and both of them,
They are okay.
they are okay.
I think that, people have.
It is not acceptable.
People
No, it's
have,
not right, doctor.
People have
right.
strange
Okay.
sexual fantasies, right?
For them.
But you see, every human being has a certain level of control over what is here and how it affects the entire body. So if your husband is not around, I mean, there's a way you can handle your mind to take yourself out of it also.
Okay. So whoever asked the question, you heard it.
You enjoy your body too.
Second, couples kiss when their children are around.
Can couple
Kiss.
kiss?
It's a normal kiss. A normal kiss is fine.
Yes,
When
yes,
they are
yes,
children.
yes.
Thank you.
In fact, there is nothing like a normal kiss between couples.
So it's okay.
It's okay to kiss. You are teaching
Wow.
your son
A
or
good
your
way to
daughter
handle your
that when you
woman.
marry,
That's
it's
good.
okay to kiss your
Okay,
husband.
somebody
it's okay to kiss
says,
you.
Mama, meaning you. You don't know what's going on.
I have an issue with
I know what is going on. We all know what is going on. No, it's a decision you must take. Sometimes people want to defend what they are doing. They don't
Now,
seek
doctor
for
wants
help.
to say something. Let's.
Yes, dog.
I have an issue with the kissing when the kids are there.
That's what I said.
They
Is
may
it normal
practice it.
kissing?
They practice
in
it.
our absence.
In your absence.
But when you do it,
Thank
you
you.
let them know. When you get to where we are, then you do it. You see, children
These
look
kids,
at.
they are smart too.
Please.
Okay, so
let me say this.
Nyameba,
Yes,
Nyameba
I
Opoko,
saw her question.
Asamoah Francesca, she's asking, she's saying that her two married friends also ask if it's okay for them to use dildos because their husbands are here and they are in Ghana.
Their husbands are in the U.S. and they are
Outside
in
the
Ghana.
country.
Yes, the wives are there and the husbands are here.
Saa brochiri awadi yi.
Juma,
Juma
when we talk,
eji
they
wo
won't
nkrofo.
listen. For distance marriage, it goes with a lot of things.
The reason why I asked Doc the age limit of when your libido is high and down is that some people, no matter the year, their libido, some people have very low libido, others have very high libido. So if you have a very high libido and your husband is in America and you are in Ghana,
You will libido yourself.
You manage yourself.
So the extremes,
Yeah.
usually they are underlying medical
Yeah, so you go
conditions.
see doctor.
So those who have very low libidos or those who have very high ones,
Oh, okay.
those extremes, there are
You know, somebody
issues.
just saying something. Some people, their husbands are here, but the women still use the sex tools.
Yes,
They are
because
addicted to them.
sometimes they get
What is
used
all
to
this?
it. When they
It's
make
all
love
wrong.
to their husband, they still
They
don't
don't
reach.
film
They are
it. It's,
satisfied.
So they have to.
It's
So
not
that
good.
one is more like a form of masturbation that they are doing. But we all know that masturbation
It's
is
bad.
not good. Yes. So those, I mean, you may be in a situation whereby it's difficult, just like your partner is not around and all that. But some of those practices, if you don't take care, you get addicted to
You
it,
hurt yourself.
and it can actually affect your sex life.
Yeah.
So you have sex with your husband or your wife,
Satisfied.
you won't get satisfied. You need to go and do your own
Consult
thing,
your
yes.
machines.
So we try not to encourage people to do those
Use
things
sex
because
toy.
some people will go overboard and do all sort of things. Yeah.
In most instances, when this happen, may push the men to go in for the AK-47 all night.
The dragon.
The dragon fire.
Oja.
Oja. Now we have all the alumometers and
Eh-heh.
it's
Aphrodisiacs.
a bad practice.
Thank you.
It's a very bad practice, and people need to be educated on to stop. It gets to a stage whereby without those drugs, you can't perform. And with the sex toys, we've had series of instances where couples, especially those who have distance relationships, the husband is somewhere, the woman is using the sex toys. He comes and then he assumes that the man is like a stick. And the place has become so wide that the man's thing now becomes something very small, and it brings a lot of
because of course it's a machine, and machine and human being.
happening. So we encourage the women to stop and cease these practices and psych themselves, as Reverend said, and control their sexual feelings, control their sexual ambitions, and then practice it as and when they have it. It ends then.
Wow,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Adoko. I want everybody, all my panelists, to have their last word, and we are wrapping up on this program. The Glam Show comes back in 2 weeks from today. And if you are around this place, come. We'll give you time to ask questions. You can send me your questions on 0244 674347, 0244 674347. 47. Or you can write your question in the comment section. We will write it and then come back and ask for you. So, Dr. Afari.
Okay, so I'm glad to be here today. And I hope all the information we've shared and all the experiences we've talked about, we are all going to abide by them and make sure that we have a fulfilling relationship, either in our marriage, then the practices that we've mentioned that are no good, we don't indulge in them. Then we have an harmonious relationship and everything going to be fine.
Thank you. I would want to have you here over and over. And please, next 2 weeks, make a date with me.
Definitely.
And like I said earlier, this is my personal gynae. Very nice man, very fun to be with. You go into the consultation room and you don't feel like you are before a doctor. Yeah. You can have a chat with him.
But do women even think about how their husbands feel around their gynaes?
Oh, how do they feel? They don't.
No, they don't think about how their husbands feel. My name is Abraham Lampi. The question is, no, Katie, you should know your dad now. Charlotte, am I asking a very good question? Because here is somebody who is not married to your wife, and he sometimes knows the in and out of your wife. Is it a comfortable feeling? Husbands, can you please tell me?
The women don't have any problem with it. And I'm sure that
because they are the women. We too, we will start going. So if the female own is gynae, how do you call the male own? Neurologist or what? Urologist. Yes. Okay.
So all the men.
Do we have female urologists?
Yes, we have female urologists.
Please show me one.
No problem. No problem. I'll connect you.
Doctor, your last word.
Yeah, my last words are going to be more on. I was thinking we could have time to discuss about, because of time, sexually transmitted infections. And some of the complications and some of the problems that can lead to infertility. Infections can destroy the vagina. Infections can destroy the womb. Infection can block your tubes. So play safe and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. My wonderful son, he's been here since morning. I had to pull him for us to.
My last words would be that everyone, you owe yourself the responsibility to get to know yourself. Discover yourself. When you do so, you will develop self-worth. And then nobody can derail you, or nothing will take you off the path that you chart for yourself.
Wow, Daddy. You want to have the last word?
My last word is, condoms don't prevent sin. Wait for the right time.
That's a profound one.
Hey, Mama Charlotte.
He has finished it, so let's keep it going, eh? And the women, don't be shy to express yourself to your husbands. This is your place to explore and enjoy. Don't die. Talk about it, and you'll be fine. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, please do it better. All too soon. We've come to the end of the Glam Show, The Woman and Her Sexuality. By popular request, we are coming back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Invite a friend, tell a woman, tell another woman to tell another woman. We have two very, Dr. Fari, whilst the comments were going on, people, you are well known, seriously, you are well known. People, messages, Doctor, yes, everybody, and then Dr. Donko, everybody. In fact, you won't go to, I'm talking about him because it's my personal doctor, you won't go to him and desire to go to another doctor. He will make sure you can call him, you can WhatsApp him, you can, oh. I have two very good gynaes who will make you feel very comfortable. And in 2 weeks, please, make a date with us. 3 p.m. I promise you, we are starting 3 p.m. sharp, and then 5 will be out. We'll be able to tame ourselves and keep ourselves in check. We said we're doing this in 2 hours, and we are almost 3 hours. And you don't even feel tired, do you? I thank you so much for sticking and staying with us. Please, hit the share button. Share somebody. Let somebody know. Let somebody learn. I personally have learned so much on this set. And I'll see you again 2 weeks from today on The Glam Show. God bless you and see you later. Bye-bye.
Amen.
You are like a clanging cymbal. You are making noise. Most of us are making noise. So you know they are nothing. We have an assignment to love one another. If you see your brother falling, why don't you get into the gutter with the person and lift the person up and pray for the person? We kill our soldiers. We kill ourselves. We do not celebrate our own. We count the sins of each other. If you do good to somebody, they'll write it on water. But do one bad, they'll write it on brass. There are people I have killed myself for. There are people I have compromise my credibility, my integrity for. The kind of things they say about me now. Listen, I hear them, but they did not. Listen, I'm not living my life because of them. I am on assignment, and that is where I am going. If you know that this place, you are a stranger, you are passing through, you will not dwell on the offense of your neighbor. Let them say whatever they have to say. Let me tell you something. The more they are hating you, the more they are destroying you. They are advertising you. Listen, if you love, the more they hate you, the more the Lord blesses you. Because why? He said he will lay a table before you in the presence of your... What at all have they done to you that you are saying things, you are destroying people? Paul accepted the love of Christ, and so he had to transfer. Until you have love, you cannot give love. Most of us are not born again. We are just church comers. If you are a believer, you can forgive easily. You can have love and forgive easily. When it comes to love, we are like the moon rather than the sun. What we have is what we reflect. If you have the love of God in you, you will give the love of God. If you are married to someone